Chapter 882. Director Tian. Lu Chen smiled at Tian in a teasing tone. I haven't seen you for half a year and you've gotten prettier. It was not a compliment. Tian was indeed very beautiful that night. A diamond-studded evening gown accentuated her charming figure. She wore light makeup and was smiling. Her eyebrows were full of charm, making her look beautiful and elegant. Tian rolled her eyes at Lu Chen's teasing and said coquettishly, I'll tell Sister Fei that you're flirting with me. Let's see how she'll deal with you. Lu Chen surrendered. All right, you're ugly today. After the joke, the two got down to business. Tian was both a good friend of Lu Chen and Chen Fei, as well as a business partner. Star Factory Media, founded by Tian, had Lu Chen and Chen Fei's shares. The first reality talent show, China's Voice, became an instant hit and was now the ace entertainment show of Zhidong satellite TV station. The idea for China's Voice was provided by Lu Chen and the copyright was registered. With the show's popularity, the copyrights had been sold to many countries and they made a lot of money. It was also by relying on China's Voice that Star Factory Media's reputation in the industry soared. Tian became a rising star in the upper echelons of the industry and appeared on the cover of fashion magazines several times. In many ways, Star Factory Media was similar to Happy Entertainment. Lu Chen held shares and provided creative models, but they were also managed by others. Tian came to find Lu Chen not just to catch up with friends. The two were in different places and both were very busy. It was not easy to meet each other, so Tian made a long story short and asked directly, about what I told you last time, do you have any good ideas? In the industry, Lu Chen had the reputation of turning stone into gold. Not only did he make many celebrity artists popular, but the projects he invested in and managed were all successful. His creative inspiration seemed endless. Tian had personally experienced the magic of Lu Chen. When Star Factory was first established, she would never have imagined that China's Voice would become such a huge success. At the beginning, Tian still had the idea of being content with a little wealth, thinking that she could create a small career of her own after leaving Zhidong satellite TV station. But now she was eager to make Star Factory Media bigger and stronger and even go public. She did not hide her ambition from Lu Chen and Chen Fei. And to realize her ambition, just relying on China's Voice alone was far from enough. Star Factory Media needed more competitive products. Naturally, Tian went to Lu Chen and confidently asked him for ideas. Lu Chen smiled. He took out a stack of paper that he had prepared beforehand and handed it to the other party. For this matter, Chen Fei had spent a lot of time on pillow talk. He had deliberately squeezed out some time to come up with a plan. Tian's eyes suddenly lit up and she could not wait to snatch it. She did not expect Lu Chen to be so well prepared. Looking at the thickness of the paper, this program plan must be quite complete. Maybe it could be directly launched. Tian had never doubted Lu Chen's talent and strength. Where are we going, Dad? But when she saw the title of the program, she was still stunned. What the hell was this? Out of trust in Lu Chen, Tian still looked at it carefully. Gradually her expression changed. Sometimes she frowned, sometimes she relaxed, and her eyes flashed with an inexplicable brilliance. There was still some time before the rehearsal, so Lu Chen was not in a hurry to rush her. He unscrewed a bottle of mineral water and slowly drank it. Where are we going, Dad? Was the new program proposal that he specially came up with for Star Factory Media. The creative idea was still derived from the memory of the dream world. It was a popular entertainment program. Different from the popular singing and acting talent shows, Where Are We Going, Dad? Was a fresh outdoor parent-child reality show. The target audience was celebrities with children of the right age, allowing them to participate in the show together, presenting a storybook of celebrity family life education. Most importantly, this program was completely out of the recording studio and allowing the participating celebrities' families to experience a different kind of life in the beautiful wilderness. There was too much content and interest to be unearthed. Tian was originally in the industry, and after completing a major project like China's Voice, her ability had been greatly tempered. Naturally, her judgment had also improved correspondingly. Therefore, even before she finished reading the program proposal that Lu Chen came up with, she already felt that, Where Are We Going, Dad? Would definitely be a success. It was highly likely that it would become another popular variety show after China's Voice. After flipping to the last page, Tian carefully put the proposal away, then looked at Lu Chen. Lu Chen was baffled. What's wrong? Tian sighed. I really want to open your head and see why you can come up with so many good ideas. Lu Chen smiled and said, Do you think this is a good idea? Of course. Tian Tian said without hesitation. Her pretty face was flushed with excitement. The company has also hired several program planners to come up with several sets of new program plans. They are all singing and dancing. It's completely copying others' ideas. After seeing your plan, I decided to go back and fire them all. Lu Chen shook his head and said, "It's not that exaggerated. My plan is just a rough idea. Many details still need to be modified according to the actual situation. If you fire them, who will help you?" Tian Tian smiled and changed the topic. "Do you think it's okay for us to work with another TV station for this program?" Lu Chen was stunned. What? China's Voice was a cooperation between Star Factory and Zhidong Satellite TV Station. Because Tian Tian came from Zhidong Satellite TV Station, she had connections in the station, so it was naturally more convenient to cooperate. The most important thing was that Star Factory was in Hangzhou. If they did not choose the nearby one, would they choose the one far away? Tian Tian hesitated for a moment and said, "Someone in the station said that the original contract for China's Voice was signed unfairly. They said that I took advantage of it and wanted to revise it." Tian Tian had connections in Zhidong Satellite TV Station, but not everyone liked her. She resigned to start a company and made a lot of money with China's Voice. Many people were jealous and said a lot of strange things behind her back. Tian Tian did not care about these rumors, but she could not bear to overturn the original contract. It was clearly a win-win cooperation. Star Factory made a lot of money, and the satellite TV station was also full of benefits. How could she bear to burn the bridge after crossing the river? Chapter 883. In the eyes of others, Lu Chen's relationship with Zhidong Satellite TV Station was very good. He appeared in Zhidong Satellite TV Station's programs many times, participated in many activities organized by the satellite TV station, and the TV series he starred in also premiered on Zhidong Satellite TV Station, not to mention that Lu Chen himself was from Zhidong. Thanks to this good relationship, coupled with Tian Tian's own network resources, the cooperation between Star Factory and Zhidong Satellite TV Station, which Lu Chen had a stake in, was also very pleasant. Both sides worked together to build The Voice of China into a top-rated variety program. However, as the saying goes, there are no eternal friends, only eternal interests. It was precisely because The Voice of China was too successful that there were some strange voices inside Zhidong Satellite TV Station. The key point was the contract signed between Star Factory and Zhidong Satellite TV Station. The Voice of China was filmed and produced by Star Factory Media and owned the brand copyright of the program. Therefore, after The Voice of China became popular, a series of brand licensing and copyright transfer involved had nothing to do with Zhidong Satellite TV Station, and naturally could not share the benefits. Moreover, Star Factory enjoyed a high share of the program's title, especially this year's exclusive title fee of 270 million, and Star Factory took half of it. Not only that, next year's title fee for the new season would definitely exceed 300 million. With such a big benefit, how could it not make people jealous? When signing the contract, Zhidong Satellite TV Station did not expect The Voice of China to be so popular, repeatedly breaking the ratings record of reality talent shows. As a result, a large piece of the cake was poached by Star Factory. Of course, The Voice of China was invested and produced by Star Factory, and it was reasonable to share the benefits. However, some people in the satellite TV station thought that the former still had a big advantage and they had suffered a big loss. Such a voice existed last year and it became stronger today. Some people were jealous of Tian Tian and said strange things, and it involved some internal struggles within the satellite TV station. Some people wanted to make an issue out of it. In some people's view, the success of The Voice of China mainly relied on the strength and promotion of the satellite TV station. The program brand had also been firmly tied to the satellite TV station, and the previous contract was obviously unfair and needed to be revised. They were not afraid of falling out with Star Factory. They could change to Asia's strongest voice, China New Voice, and modify the program model to avoid copyright disputes, and then they could swallow all the benefits. This kind of voice is now very popular within the satellite TV station, and it has also caused a lot of pressure on Tian Tian. One of the leaders of the station privately told Tian Tian to pay attention to her image. They're the ones who want to burn the bridge after crossing it, yet they want me to pay attention to the consequences. Tian Tian was filled with righteous indignation. You're making it sound like I don't know how to be a person. Don't you think about how much the station has earned? The money-making ability of a top-rated variety show was terrifying. The exclusive title sponsorship fee could easily reach hundreds of millions, and the advertisements before and after the show were even more lucrative, not to mention the positive impact on the television station itself. Lu Chen nodded. If Tian Tian didn't say it before, he really didn't know that there were so many things inside. He was also dissatisfied with the approach of some people in Zhidong Satellite TV, and he fully understood Tian Tian's thoughts. It's not wise to put all your eggs in one basket. After thinking about it, Lu Chen said, it's a good idea to work with another company for the new program proposal. I support you. Tian Tian beamed with joy. I knew you would support me. Lu Chen said with a smile. Then, which company are you going to work with? He just asked casually, but he didn't expect Tian Tian to answer confidently. Some time ago, Shonen TV came to me. They should have heard the news and said that they are willing to take over The Voice of China and sign a 3-year contract with the same conditions. Shonen TV? Lu Chen was stupefied. This was blatantly trying to poach the corner of the wall. Tian Tian continued, I thought that it was unlikely that you and Shonen TV and Zhidong Satellite TV would break the contract, so I didn't agree, but if it's a new program I can consider it. They are very sincere. Lu Chen said with a smile, I don't have much conflict with Shonen TV. Even if there is, it has already been said. If you think it's worth it, then there's no problem with cooperating with them. The grudge between Lu Chen and Shonen TV was no secret in the circle, but with the rapid rise of his status in the circle in the past 2 years, Shonen TV put down their status and took the initiative to express their willingness to cooperate several times. Lu Chen did not regard Shonen TV as an enemy or anything. The past was long past and he had no grudge against Shonen TV. It was also a good thing to have the opportunity to cooperate. Tian Tian was relieved. That's good. I'll talk to them later. She waved her fist and said, I will let some people know that I am not someone to be trifled with. Lu Chen was amused. Tian Tian blushed at his smile and said quickly, I'll go prepare first. I'll treat you to supper in the evening. Tian Tian was one of the special guest hosts of Zhidong Satellite TV's New Year's concert tonight, so she also had to rehearse on stage in the afternoon. She didn't come to see Lu Chen specifically. Time passed quickly and in the blink of an eye the afternoon passed and night fell. Lu Chen did not leave the stadium after the rehearsal. He had a simple working meal backstage and then waited for the live broadcast of the party to officially begin. It was still early and he had just eaten, so Lu Chen got up and walked out of the lounge, only to find that the backstage area was already very lively. The singers, artists, dancers, musicians and staff who participated in the performance were gathered together, nervously and orderly completing the final preparations. Teacher Lu. Teacher Lu. Lu Chen's appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention, and those singer guests greeted him warmly. Several Lu Chen looked a little familiar, but he couldn't tell their names. Out of politeness he responded to them one by one. While smiling politely, he secretly regretted it in his heart. He didn't like this kind of social interaction very much. He felt like a panda, and some people were very good at taking advantage of the situation. They kept pestering him and all kinds of compliments made him feel embarrassed. Brother Lu Chen. Fortunately, the appearance of Mu Xiaochu saved Lu Chen. Tonight, Zhidong Satellite TV's New Year's concert invited MSN, so Mu Xiaochu was also backstage. The good relationship between Mu Xiaochu and Lu Chen was well known in the circle. She held Lu Chen's arm and smiled, so naturally there was no room for others to interrupt. Several small stars who couldn't find an opportunity could only secretly envy them. At 7:30 p.m., the 2018 to 2019 Zhidong Satellite TV New Year's concert officially began. Hangzhou Huanglong Stadium, which could accommodate 70,000 people, was already full. Chapter 884. The laughter of the sea, the surging tide on both sides, floating and sinking with the waves, only remembering today. The heaven laughs, the world tides, who loses and who wins, God knows. Hangzhou Huanglong Stadium. On the big stage, Lu Chen and Liao Jia sang the theme song of The Ocean's Roar of The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, accompanied by the September Band. In the movie The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, this song was created by Lu Chen and sung by Lu Gangxing and Tan Hong together as the interlude and ending song, and it was also the main melody of this martial arts drama. With the success of the movie The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, The Ocean's Roar has also become a well-known classic, so when the two sang together, there were countless fans in the audience singing in unison. Originally, Zhidong Satellite TV intended to invite Lu Gangxing and Tan Hong to participate in this New Year's concert, but the former had long been scheduled to perform in Hong Kong Satellite TV, while the latter had no intention of appearing on the big stage again. Therefore this song was reinterpreted by Lu Chen and Liao Jia. Liao Jia also agreed to the invitation of Zhidong Satellite TV because of Lu Chen. He liked this song even more than Tan Hong. In fact, it was also him who proposed to sing The Ocean's Roar with Lu Chen. The rivers and mountains laugh, the misty rain is far away, the waves wash away the world of mortals, how many do you know in the secular world? The breeze laughs, unexpectedly provokes loneliness, the lofty sentiments still remain. This song, The Ocean's Roar, is grand and heroic, with a natural and unrestrained feeling in the vicissitudes of life. The whole song is like a surging river, flowing for 1,000 miles, giving people a very carefree feeling. It also complements the movie, and is regarded as the most outstanding theme song in domestic movies in recent years. And many music critics think that this is also one of Lu Chen's best works. Although The Ocean's Roar was composed by Lu Chen, he was not the original singer. Therefore he sang this song with Liao Jia tonight. Although the arrangement and the background music had changed a lot, the artistic conception and spirit of wandering in Jianghu with a sword remained unchanged. Among the 70,000 spectators sitting in the Huanglong Stadium tonight, many were Lu Chen's fans. They had traveled thousands of miles to Hangzhou City just for Lu Chen. Of course, they were very familiar with The Ocean's Roar. Similarly, there were many people who had seen the smiling, proud wanderer. They were listening to the familiar melody and singing and watching the clip of the movie on the big screen. The autumn wind was cool and the river water was clear. The two best friends were on a floating wooden boat, singing the unrestrained and unrestrained song of being born in the secular world. The long gown and scholar's hat were floating on the river. Under the dusk, the melodious sound of the zither could be heard. In the vast sea, a laugh could be heard. How could one not be moved by this scene, this song, and this sound? The heroic spirit is still there, smiling like a fool. When Liao Jia finished the last sentence, he suddenly swung the microphone in his hand and shouted, "Awesome!" This "awesome" instantly won the cheers and applause of the audience like a tsunami, setting off a new wave of climax of the grand concert tonight. Liao Jia laughed, opened his arms and hugged Lu Chen hard, and then turned around gracefully and left the stage. He didn't attend the New Year's Eve concert to show his face or make money. He just wanted to have a good time. After singing The Ocean's Roar, his mind would be clear and he would be satisfied. He also left the stage to Lu Chen. On the big stage, a bright spotlight fell on Lu Chen, making him the only focus of the whole stage and the whole stadium. The cheers, and applause gradually subsided. Only the light sticks were still waving and the support cards with Lu Chen's name were still waving, drawing dazzling lights and shadows in the dark auditorium. Facing the tens of thousands of audience, Lu Chen smiled and said, "Tonight, I am very happy to return to my hometown and stand on this stage again to sing for you. The year 2019 is coming. First of all, I wish you a happy new year and all your wishes come true in the new year." After that, he bowed deeply to the audience. The enthusiasm of the audience, which had just been suppressed, suddenly burst out again, like an unstoppable volcano. Lu Chen. Lu Chen. Countless people shouted his name, and many fans couldn't help standing up and waving the light sticks in their hands desperately, hoping that Lu Chen would notice their existence. Lu Chen straightened up and continued, "The next song is a new song." Before he finished speaking, he was immediately interrupted by another burst of cheers from the audience. Many fans liked Lu Chen. First of all, they liked his songs, liked his original classic works, and liked to get a steady stream of surprises from him. Lu Chen's talent in music creation had long been unquestionable. Although because Lu Chen put his energy on film and television, from time to time there were doubts in the circle that Lu Chen's talent has been exhausted, they were all slapped in the face. Now Lu Chen once again gave his fans a surprise, but it was not a very unexpected surprise. This surprise was for the tens of thousands of audience present, and also for the tens of millions of audience in front of the TV. Today was the last day of 2018, and in 3 hours it would be 2019. In order to welcome the arrival of the new year, a total of 6 domestic TV stations held New Year's Eve concerts, including almost half of the star artists in the entertainment industry. Since the starting time of the New Year's Eve concerts of each TV station were basically the same, the competition for the ratings was extremely fierce, especially in the prime time now where it was directly bare-chested. The audience held the remote control in their hands and had the greatest autonomy. They could watch whichever TV station they wanted to watch, and often only to find their favorite stars or songs, so the real-time ratings data fed back often fluctuated greatly. But at this moment, Zhidong Satellite TV's ratings ranked first, directly crushing the second-ranked Shonen TV by 2 points, and it was gradually widening. Although such a lead was temporary, it was enough to make Zhidong Satellite TV proud. Only Lu Qin could create such a miracle. This song is included in my new album, which will be released nationwide tomorrow. Lu Qin took the opportunity to advertise his new album, which at this time could at least be worth millions of advertising fees. And today is the first time I will sing in public. I hope everyone can like it. The name of this song is Blue and White Porcelain! As Lu Qin's voice fell, an ink painting of the Jiangnan water town appeared on the giant LED screen behind him. A blue and white porcelain appeared with the ripples of the water, and the name of the song Blue and White Porcelain appeared in everyone's sight. The Huanglong Stadium quieted down in an instant, and many people couldn't help holding their breath, for fear of hearing even one of the lyrics wrong. Chapter 885. Many people believe that Lu Qin's achievements in music far exceed others. Although the TV series and movies he starred in are all popular, they can't compare to his contribution to the Chinese pop music world. Lu Qin's earliest compositional style was folk songs, and he created a unique campus folk song, led the new trend of domestic pop music, and brought up a group of original folk singers. Tian, not bad. Subsequently, his creations involved light rock and the most popular love songs, and he also took out several popular themes and ethnic works, which expanded his fan base. In terms of pop music, Lu Qin has established himself as the king of Chinese pop music world with a series of fine and classic works. In addition to his huge influence in China, many of his works have been covered by people and are popular in many Southeast Asian countries. He has many fans in South Korea, Japan and other places. This diversity of creative styles is undoubtedly a distinct brand on Lu Qin's musical achievements. Every one of his works has been studied by people in the industry, and those record media and entertainment companies that are most sensitive to the market are always paying attention to Lu Qin's movements, including many creative singers. Nothing is more worthy of their attention than Lu Qin's new songs. Tonight's New Year's Eve party of Zhidong Satellite TV has an unparalleled ratings among a specific group of people. They listen to the New Year's work brought by Lu Qin on TV, on computers or with mobile phones, which was included in Lu Qin's third album. Maybe this new song will bring about a new trend in the music world. The blue and white flowers are outlined in a simple embryo, and the brush tip turns from thick to light. The peony depicted on the bottle is just like your first makeup. The sandalwood fragrance slowly passes through the window, and I understand your thoughts. The brush on the rice paper has been put down halfway, the glaze rendering the charm of the painting of a lady is privately hidden, and your sweet smile is like a budding flower. This blue and white porcelain is a masterpiece of China style. It describes the sorrow of parting between lovers very tactfully and delicately, hidden in a subtle yet unique charm, like a green olive that can be slowly tasted in the mouth. In terms of artistic conception, the first thing this song presented to people was a misty and hazy Jiangnan ink landscape picture. Between the faint colors, one could vaguely see the white dress of the beautiful woman and her skirt fluttering in the wind. The lyrics were beautiful and full of charm, as if it was a beautiful letter written by the window, with hundreds and thousands of twists and turns, intertwined with love, extremely exquisite. In terms of melody, Blue and White Porcelain was like a mountain stream flowing quietly on a rock. It was clear and bright, winding and lingering, just like Celadon that cared about its own beauty. It was simple and elegant without any pretentiousness. But the most touching part was Lu Qin's interpretation of the song. It was affectionate but not boring, clear but not weak. It was as if he was narrating, and every word that entered the ears moved the heartstrings. The azure sky waits for the misty rain. And I'm waiting for you. Smoke rose in spirals. Thousands of miles across the river. At the bottom of the bottle, the calligraphy was engraved to imitate the elegance of the previous dynasty. Just a foreshadowing of my meeting you. Hangzhou was a very unique city. She was a gentle and moving young lady. Under the light and heavy makeup of West Lake, she transformed into a curtain of misty rain in the south of the Yangtze River. Under the fragrance of Longjing tea, under the osmanthus flowers, every trace of meaningful and elegant. This city and the temperament of Blue and White Porcelain were almost perfect, so it was used by Lu Qin as the new song for tonight's concert. This Blue and White Porcelain was also a good song that needed to be savored carefully. It would not give people a strong sense of impact at once, but the more you listened to it, the more it tasted. In the tide of applause and cheers, Lu Qin, who finished singing Blue and White Porcelain, bowed to thank the audience and then left the stage. Tonight he would fly back to Beijing. When Lu Qin's flight took off, A large number of concert clips had appeared on Waves's blog, and Blue and White Porcelain was directly pushed to the home page of the hot list. The most enthusiastic response was from music critics. Their love and praise for this song were very high. Some music critics regarded it as a new breakthrough in Lu Chen's music creation, and predicted that it would create a new genre, making people look forward to Lu Chen's new album, which would go on sale tomorrow. After nearly 2 years, Lu Chen finally released his third album. This album, named after him, attracted the attention of a large number of fans and the industry from the beginning. As of Christmas on December 25th, the pre-orders for Lu Chen's album had exceeded 1 million copies. Of course, this pre-order included a variety of package combinations, from the cheapest single-disc CD of 20 yuan to the gold limited edition commemorative set of 8,888 yuan. And this was already an impressive achievement. Because online pre-orders needed to be paid in full, this new album had not yet been officially released, but Qinfei Media had already raked in more than 100 million yuan. After deducting production, channels, promotion, taxes and other costs, there was at least a 30% profit. For other singers, this is an unimaginable miracle, because today's pop singers rarely rely on selling albums to make money. Everyone goes through advertising, business, entertainment and other channels to make money. 9 out of 10 people will starve to death if they stay in their own land to sell records. And even if they sold albums, they mainly went the way of online albums. If they sold tens of thousands of copies, it would be worth holding a celebration party. After all, although copyright management was quite strict, piracy of pop songs was unavoidable and strangled. On the one hand, the latest songs could be downloaded with a click of the mouse. On the other hand, they needed to spend money to buy it, which was a great test of human nature. Most of the people who were really willing to support were fans. And in this regard, the terrifying popularity that Lu Chen had accumulated over the years burst out violently. When Lu Chen returned home in Beijing, it was already past 3 o'clock in the morning on January 1, 2019. It was more or less a pity that he could not welcome the new year with Qinfei. Putting down his luggage, Lu Chen took out clean clothes from the wardrobe and took a hot shower in the bathroom. After drying his hair, he changed into pajamas and crept to the bedroom. The bedroom was lit with a small night light, and the faint orange light shone on the big bed. Qinfei, who was covered with a down quilt, was immersed in a dream with a sweet smile on his face. No one knew what kind of dream he was having. Lu Chen quietly lifted the down quilt and got into bed. A warm and fragrant smell instantly rushed into his nose, making him exhale comfortably, and his whole person relaxed. It felt good to be home. He leaned over and kissed Qinfei on the forehead, and reached out to turn off the night light. At this time Qinfei woke up from her sleep with a ah. She blinked and saw Lu Chen lying beside her. Note: Blue and White Porcelain lyrics. Fang Wenshan / composer, Zhou Jieluan. Chapter 886. You're back. Trying to open her sleepy eyes, Qinfei murmured, "What time is it now?" Lu Chen put his hand on the back of her neck and carefully pulled her into his arms. He said, "I just came back. It's still early. Go to sleep." Qinfei turned sideways and pressed herself against Lu Chen. She adjusted her posture to make herself more comfortable. She rubbed her head against Lu Chen's chest like a cat eager to be pampered. She even nibbled him mischievously. Lu Chen couldn't help laughing. He only felt happy and satisfied in his heart. The two of them leaned against each other without speaking. They could feel the warmth and love from each other. They only hoped that time could stop at this moment forever. Lu Chen was the most popular male star in the country, and Qinfei was also qualified to be called the most famous female star. The two of them had common careers and their own careers. The time they spent together was not as long as the time they spent working together. Therefore, whether it was Lu Chen or Qinfei, they cherished the private time that belonged to them very much. They made each other a spiritual harbor in their busy lives. Sleepiness came quietly. Lu Chen couldn't help yawning because of the tiredness of running all the way. However, at this moment, Qinfei suddenly said, I have something to tell you." Lu Chen's mind was already a little confused. He asked subconsciously, "What is it?" He didn't hear the hesitation and uneasiness in his girlfriend's voice. Qinfei bit her lip and said softly, "I'm pregnant." Lu Chen smacked his lips and asked vaguely, "What is it?" The next moment, it was as if a bolt of lightning flashed in his mind, making his consciousness suddenly sober. Lu Chen suddenly opened his eyes and asked in disbelief, "You mean, I'm pregnant?" Qinfei hugged him tightly, buried her head in his arms and nodded. "Ha. A great joy rose in his heart, instantly drowning Lu Chen's entire body, making him feel as if he had been electrocuted from head to toe, his whole body involuntarily trembling. I'm going to be a father. At this moment, Lu Chen wanted to announce to the world that he was going to be a father. The surprise and happiness came so suddenly that he couldn't believe it. He hurriedly asked, "When did you find out? Did you go to the hospital for a checkup? How long has it been?" In fact, thinking about it carefully, when the two of them were together, they didn't take any protective measures seriously. Especially when they were passionate, they didn't care that much. Chen Feier's pregnancy wasn't a big surprise. Chen Feier raised her head from his arms and said with a red face, "I was a little suspicious last week. When you went to Hangzhou, I bought a pregnancy test stick and tested it. Then the day before yesterday, I went to the hospital for a follow-up. It has been more than 4 weeks." Lu Chen couldn't help but complain, "Why didn't you tell me such a big thing earlier?" Chen Feier pouted and said, "I was afraid that it would affect your work. It was only for 1 or 2 days." She looked at Lu Chen seriously, and there was a flash of uneasiness in her eyes. You won't be unhappy, will you?" Lu Chen was stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "How can I be unhappy? I'm really too happy." At this moment, Lu Chen finally felt the weakness and uneasiness in Chen Feier's heart. Without thinking, he hugged her tightly and said, "Feier, let's get married." He had wanted to say this for a long time. It was a little late to say it now, but it was good that he said it. Chen Feier's body trembled and her eyes were filled with tears. She wouldn't tell Lu Chen that she had been waiting for him to say this. Because of her family, she had an inexplicable fear of two people getting married and living together. She had seen too many men and women in the entertainment industry break up and get together, so she didn't have 100% confidence in the relationship between her and Lu Chen. Until now, when she heard Lu Chen's firm request, she finally saw her heart clearly. "Let's get married." Chen Feier nodded hard and tears fell from the corners of her eyes. "Don't cry." Lu Chen was so distressed that he quickly kissed away the tears on her face. "It's not good for the baby." Chen Feier rubbed his pajamas hard to wipe away her tears. She said angrily, "If you start to care about the baby now, will you love the baby more than you love me in the future?" Lu Chen knew that this was not the time to be reasonable, so he quickly coaxed, "How can that be possible? I love the baby and I love you. Both of you are the most important." Chen Feier snorted and said discontentedly, "You only know how to coax me. Who knows what you're thinking in your heart?" Lu Chen could only smile bitterly. However, Chen Feier's mood finally calmed down. She leaned into Lu Chen's arms again and asked softly, "Do you like boys or girls? Do you think Andy likes boys more?" Lu Chen smiled and said, "My mother doesn't value boys more than girls. I like girls more. What's the saying? A daughter is a father's sweet little cotton-padded jacket." Chen Feier pinched him. "She was your little lover in your previous life." Lu Chen surrendered. "Actually, we can have a few more children. We can have both boys and girls. It's best if it's lively." Chen Feier went to the main point again. "Do you think I'm a pig?" She said again, "We have to have 2 children. It's too lonely to have one." The more Lu Chen thought about it, the more excited he became. "No matter how many children we have, the first one is the most important. I'll call my sister now and ask her to stop all your work arrangements for this year. I'll also call Mom." Chen Feier was speechless. "It's the middle of the night now. Let's not talk about it." She was still a little hesitant. Lu Chen objected, "How can we not talk about it? If we don't talk about it now, let's talk about it tomorrow. I want to post it on my blog." He smiled and said, "I want to tell everyone that I'm going to be a father. I want to tell the whole world the happiness I have." "No." Chen Feier said shyly, "We're not married yet. It's not good to let everyone know. Besides, if you post it on your blog, people will say that you're using my pregnancy to promote your new album. It's not good." "That's true." Lu Chen patted his head. He was a little muddle-headed. The entertainment industry was too complicated. It was better to keep a low profile as much as possible. "Then let's go home together in a few days to register. I'll tell Mom then and set the wedding date." Chen Feier nodded obediently. Lu Chen suppressed his excitement and said, "It's very late. Let's sleep. It's very important to rest." He reached out and turned off the night light, and the bedroom suddenly fell into darkness. But for the rest of the time, Lu Chen basically couldn't sleep. He hugged Chen Feier, recalling the bits and pieces of the past between them, looking forward to a beautiful and happy life in the future. Tonight was destined to be a sleepless night. Chapter 887. When Lu Chen woke up in the morning, it was already 9 o'clock in the morning. Usually he would wake up around 6 o'clock and exercise for nearly 2 hours. At 9 o'clock he would basically enter work mode. It was rare for him to sleep so late. However, the situation last night was too special. The surprise of Qin Fei's pregnancy made Lu Chen sleepless all night. He only fell asleep after 6 o'clock. When he woke up, Qin Fei was still clinging to his arms. Looking at his beloved, Lu Chen couldn't help but smile. He lowered his head and kissed her hard on the lips. After being harassed by him like this, Qin Fei woke up with a moan. Lu Chen smiled and said, "Good morning, mother of the child." Qin Fei, who had just woken up, was stupefied and immediately understood. She pouted coquettishly and punched him twice in the chest, inadvertently revealing her coquettish charm, which made Lu Chen's mind ripple. Although they had known each other for several years, his attraction to Qin Fei had never decreased. Instead, he became more and more infatuated with her. It was like drinking a cup of mellow wine. The more he tasted, the more delicious it became. Naturally, he had the urge to do it. Qin Fei, who was snuggling in his arms, immediately noticed it. She giggled and opened her little fist that was pounding on Lu Chen's chest. She stretched out her index finger and drew circles on his firm chest. In the past, Lu Chen would definitely transform into a wolf and swallow Little Red Riding Hood in his arms. However, he really couldn't do it now. Thinking of the baby in her belly that had just started to develop, he could only endure it. Looking at Lu Chen's depressed and sullen expression, Qin Fei couldn't help but laugh. She twisted in Lu Chen's arms and whispered in his ear, "There's still a year. Can you endure it?" Lu Chen said firmly, "You have to endure it even if you can't. Actually, it's not a problem. As the saying goes, after tasting the marrow one would know the taste. It would definitely be a little difficult in the beginning, but it would be fine once one got used to it." If he did not even have the willpower, Lu Chen would not have persisted in practicing martial arts every day for 4 years. In the entertainment industry, many celebrities had scandals of cheating on their wives when they were pregnant. In the past, such people were the targets of Lu Chen's contempt. How could he become the kind of person he despised? Qin Fei was overjoyed. "Really? Good boy, do you want me to get you a concubine? I'm very magnanimous." This was really possible. As long as Lu Chen moved to Xiangjiang or Taiwan, he would be able to remarry according to the laws of the Special Economic Zone. Moreover, he could still catch the last train now. In a few years the laws would be revised. To put it bluntly, with Lu Chen's wealth, if he wanted to marry more, who knew how many women would be willing to be his second wife or third wife? But Lu Chen did not hesitate to refuse the temptation and replied sternly, "No, you are enough for me." Qin Fei snorted, glanced at him coquettishly and said, "Don't think I don't know that your sister Xiaochu and Tian actually like you very much." Lu Chen smiled bitterly. "I really don't have that kind of idea." How could he not know that Mu Xiaochu had always been secretly in love with him? How could he not know that Tian was secretly in love with him? It was just that as a man he had to be responsible and responsible. He had already made a lifelong commitment to Qin Fei. How could he betray his oath of love? Therefore he could only let her down and make up for it in other ways. Lu Chen also knew that the reason why Qin Fei suddenly revealed this was most likely because she was pregnant and had a sense of insecurity in her heart. She was not usually jealous. Thinking about it, he felt more and more pity for her. He hugged Qin Fei and said seriously, "Don't think too much. In this life you are the only one I want. No matter how good or beautiful others are, they can't replace you." The touching words of love softened the depression in Qin Fei's heart, making her truly feel Lu Chen's hot and unreserved love for her. Her eyes rippled with tenderness. Suddenly she turned over and pressed Lu Chen down, saying in a sweet voice, "Don't move." The next moment she kissed Lu Chen's neck, then kissed his chest and then further down. "Lu Chen, huh?" When Lu Chen finished washing up and came out of the bathroom refreshed, it was already past 10 o'clock. As soon as he arrived at the study, he received a call from his sister. "You're back?" "I'm back. Don't forget the signing at Xinhua Bookstore in Wangfujing in the afternoon. It starts at 2 o'clock on time." "Got it? Don't worry." After hesitating for a moment, Lu Chen said, "Sister, let me tell you something." Hearing that Lu Chen's tone was not right, Lu Shi immediately became serious. "What is it?" "Ahem." Lu Chen coughed twice and said, "Fei is pregnant." "Pregnant?" His sister's tone instantly rose by 3 degrees. "Pregnant?" Lu Chen coughed and said, "It's enough that you know. Don't tell anyone for the time being. Fei's work has to be rearranged." If it had been Lu Chen, his sister would probably have grabbed a broom and whipped him. What's going on? I'm not prepared at all. You suddenly tell me. Hey, when are you getting married? You can't have a wedding with a pregnant woman. Let me check the date first. Oh, did you tell Mom? Probably because it was too sudden, his sister, who was originally smart and capable, suddenly became a bit talkative and even a little incoherent. You have to take care of Fei Er's health. Don't let her get tired. Oh, you don't understand these things. Stop. Lu Chen quickly interrupted her and said, I've thought about it carefully. First of all, I will adjust Fei Er's work arrangements. Anyway, I will definitely retire from the entertainment industry this year. Cancel all the work and activities that can be cancelled first. After a pause, he continued, I want to wait until my first concert on Valentine's Day, and then take Fei Er to my hometown to register. After the national concert tour, I will officially announce this matter. We will get married on Love Island at the end of March. As for the wedding preparations, I'll have to trouble you. Lu Shi was silent for a moment, probably digesting the impact of this matter, and then said, Get married on Love Island at the end of March. It's not good to go so far, is it? Lu Chen said, It's Fei Er's wish to get married on Love Island. She has now checked that it will be about 4 weeks, so March is not too late. In addition, I am going to buy a private plane so that it will be more convenient to travel. When he bought the island in the Maldives, Lu Chen had thought of buying a private plane, so that it would be very convenient for him to take a vacation on Love Island. Now he was just moving the plan forward. Lu Shi sighed and said, You are really a local tycoon now. Forget it, let's do it according to your plan. Lu Chen said with a smile, Finally, congratulations on becoming an aunt. Lu Shi was speechless. Chapter 888. After finalizing the plan related to Chen Fei Er with his sister, Lu Chen was relieved and sat down in the study. Turning on the computer, he first logged on to the Waves blog. As a result, he found that many people in the circle who followed each other had at him, all celebrating the release of his new album and wishing him a big sale in advance. This morning, Lu Chen's third album, Lu Chen, was officially launched nationwide. At 9 o'clock, the digital album was released on QQ Music for all fans to buy and download. Listen to it first. It was already past 10 o'clock. After replying to several friends on his blog, Lu Chen clicked on the main website of QQ Music to check the sales of the digital album. 225370. According to the data of QQ Music, in just over an hour, the new album Lu Chen has been purchased and downloaded by more than 200,000 people. The world's record industry has long declined. The previous tapes and CDs have basically withdrawn from the stage. Although CD records still have a market among specific groups of people, there is no way to compare with the past. After entering the new century, digital music is the real mainstream. This time, Lu Chen's release of his new album adopted the mode of online and offline simultaneous release. Online is the digital album, and offline is a different version of the CD set. Relying on a huge fan base, the relatively expensive offline pre-sale has achieved excellent results, and it is completely reasonable for the online release to sell well. After all, the price of a set of genuine digital albums is only 10 yuan, which is equivalent to 1 yuan for one song. Any fan can afford it. But selling more than 200,000 sets in an hour really broke the record, reaching the point where other singers can only look up to it. Excluding the cost of the channel, the cost of digital version production and distribution can be said to be negligible. 200,000 is 2 million in sales, and the profit is very amazing. And this is just the beginning. According to this hot sales trend, it may not be a dream to exceed 1 million on the first day. However, Lu Chen was not ecstatic because of this. In the face of the surprise of Chen Fei Er's pregnancy and him becoming a father, whether it is 200,000 or 1 million in sales on the first day, it is nothing. In contrast, he is more concerned about the market reputation of this new album. The new album, Lu Chen, contains 5 old songs and 5 new works. The 5 old songs are actually not old. They are all works that were just taken out last year, and the new works are really new. In terms of the style of the album, Lu Chen presents a variety of characteristics. The works in it cover folk songs, love songs and China style, and the latter is precisely his main promotion. From Jiangnan to the Ocean's Roar, and then to Blue and White Porcelain, Lu Chen's positioning for his third album is to connect the past and open up the future and create a new style, but whether he can win the recognition and love of his fans depends on the market response in these days. What are you looking at? While Lu Chen was browsing the web, Chen Fei Er, who had just finished grooming, also came to the study. Lu Chen stretched out his hands and let Chen Fei Er sit on him. Hugging his lover and smelling the fragrance on her body, Lu Qin said with a smile, "I'm looking at the album sales." "Yes." Qin Fei twisted her body to make herself more comfortable and asked, "How is it?" "Not bad. More than 200,000 sets have been sold," Lu Qin said lightly. Qin Fei's eyes widened. "That's 1 million on the first day. Oh, I also want to release a new album." "What new album?" Lu Qin said seriously. "Your job now is to raise a fetus and give birth to a child." Qin Fei smiled. "Then I won't work anymore. You have to support me." Lu Qin couldn't ask for more. "I'll support you for a lifetime." The two of them cuddled for a while in the study and then went out for lunch together. As soon as they went downstairs, his sister called. She said that she would accompany Qin Fei to talk about something at noon. Her pregnancy was really a big deal. After lunch, Lu Qin rushed to Xinhua bookstore in Wangfujing to attend the signing ceremony of his new album. According to the plan, in the next week he would fly to many big cities in China for album signing activities, and at the same time, build momentum for his first national concert tour. This was a prearranged arrangement that could not be changed because of Qin Fei's pregnancy. But after the concert, Lu Qin decided to greatly reduce his work and spend more time with his lover. The signing began at 2 o'clock. Lu Qin arrived at the bookstore of Xinhua bookstore at 1:20. As a result, he found that there was already a sea of people there. From the first floor to the third floor it was packed with people. Although the bookstore had arranged a lot of staff to maintain order, the scene was obviously beyond their expectations. A staff member shouted desperately with an electric loudspeaker, asking everyone to line up and maintain order. Lu Qin. Lu Qin. Most of these enthusiastic fans were young people and most of them were girls. They held the new album that had just been released and shouted Lu Qin's name loudly. Seeing this scene, Lu Qin, who was used to seeing big scenes, was also shocked. He came up from the internal elevator of the bookstore, so he immediately discussed with the staff to start the signing in advance to avoid a chaotic scene. When Lu Qin appeared in front of the fans, the whole floor was boiling. "Thank you, everyone." Lu Qin took the electric loudspeaker and said to the excited fans, "I'll start signing now. I only have a small request. I hope everyone will be patient and don't crowd. As long as you come today, I promise that everyone will have a copy. Even if I have to sign in the evening, I will finish signing." The signing place was on the third floor, and the line of fans went down from the third floor to the door of the first floor. If they wanted to sign all the copies, the workload could be imagined. But Lu Qin didn't want to disappoint the fans who had worked hard to support him, so he immediately began to work. One fan after another came up, smiling, communicating, signing and taking photos. It seemed simple, but when the number accumulated to hundreds of thousands, it was definitely very hard work. From about 1:20 in the afternoon until about 5 o'clock, Lu Qin basically didn't rest except for drinking water a few times. His face was stiff from smiling, his voice began to become hoarse, and his signing hand was swollen. If it weren't for his good stamina and strong enough body, he wouldn't have been able to support it. In the end, it was the fans who felt distressed. Although the fans at the back of the line had waited for several hours, seeing that Lu Qin was so tired, they all said that they didn't want to sign. They were satisfied to take a photo with him. This made Lu Qin feel warm in his heart. After returning home in the evening, he updated his blog. The content was very simple, a photo of the signing scene and a sentence. "I have the best fans in the world." Chapter 889. On January 1, 2019, Lu Qin's third solo album, Lu Qin, was officially released on the market, and the sales on QQ Music reached 1076549 copies on that day, setting an unprecedented record. In addition, Xinhua bookstores all over the country sold more than 100,000 genuine CDs. This part of the sales was new and not included in the album package previously booked, which was also a very remarkable achievement. First of all, Lu Qin has a huge popularity in China. His Inspire blog has close to 120 million followers, and no one can match the number of fans. He can be called the most dazzling star in the entertainment industry. Tian, that's right. In fact, it was nearly 2 years before the last album, Lu Qin album. The demand of fans has already accumulated to a very deep level, so it was normal for it to explode all of a sudden. Finally, it was the quality of the album. Without any surprise, all the works in this new album named after Lu Qin himself were original works by Lu Qin, and even most of the arrangements were done by him himself, which was very rare in the domestic pop music world. And Lu Qin's musical works are recognized as being of high quality both inside and outside the circle. Every song he takes out is at least at the level of fine works, and there is no lack of classics, and his reputation is unparalleled. Therefore, his fans believe that the new album will never disappoint them, and everyone is very willing to spend the money of a pack of cigarettes or a box of lunch to buy a genuine album. After some fans bought the CD record, they deliberately bought the CD player that they did not have before because the sound quality of the CD was better than the digital version. And the fact did not disappoint the fans. The production level of this Lu Qin album was impeccable, and the first work was commendable. Listening to the 10 songs from beginning to end, they were surprised and moved every minute. Many people in the industry also paid attention to this new album. They also bought the digital version as soon as possible and couldn't wait to listen and analyze it. Some music critics were keenly aware of the changing trend of Lu Qin's music style, so fresh and hot articles were published on blogs. Among them, the most frequently quoted phrase was, China style. China style was not a particularly new name. Some people in the pop music world had proposed it a long time ago. It mainly used the characteristics of traditional and ethnic music to create popular works, but most of them were nondescript and did not have much influence. Lu Qin had brought the China style into the world of his fans. His first song, South of the Yangtze River, had won numerous acclaim, and the theme song of The Ocean's Roar was sublimated. Now his new songs, Blue and White Porcelain, East Wind Breaks, and Fireworks Fade Easily, had undoubtedly left a distinct mark on this album. Some music critics excitedly said on their blogs that the era of China style in pop music had arrived. As a result, the words China style quickly became a hot topic on the homepage of blogs and was discussed by countless people. As the initiator, Lu Qin was not in a very good mood. That afternoon, he participated in a promotional signing event for his new album at Xinhua Bookstore in Wangfujing. He signed for more than 4 hours and signed thousands of copies. When it was over, his right hand was completely numb, and he couldn't even hold the chopsticks when he was eating dinner. Lu Shi and Qin Feier were frightened. They hurriedly took Lu Qin to the hospital. Considering that it was more appropriate to see a Chinese medicine practitioner in such a situation, they specially used their connections to find a well-known Chinese medicine practitioner to treat him. Lu Qin felt that the two women were making a fuss. His problem was actually muscle swelling, which should be solved by a cold compress and a hot compress. However, he could not resist their concern, so he had to accept the arrangement. After seeing it, the doctor said that it was not a big problem, so he prescribed medicine and performed acupuncture. As a result, Qin Feier took a photo of his acupuncture treatment and posted it on his blog, with the words distressed and a silently crying emoji. This time the fans suddenly exploded. What happened? What's wrong with Qin? Oh, his hand is swollen. Distressed Qin. He signed too many autographs in the afternoon, right? No wonder Feier feels distressed. In the afternoon, Lu Qin signed a book in Wangfujing. There were too many people, so I couldn't squeeze in. I'm lucky. I feel like crying just looking at it. Please tell Lu Qin not to work so hard. Can you still attend the signing event in Haijin tomorrow? I feel so conflicted. Me too. Qin Feier and Lu Qin's fans were very similar. Most of the fans felt distressed when they saw the photo, and they told Lu Qin to take care of his health. Lu Qin had always been very healthy and he was good at fighting. The reason why he had to go to the hospital was that he had signed too many autographs for too long. After returning home, Lu Qin updated his blog. First of all, he thanked his fans for their support. His hand was much better after the treatment, and the signing event in Haijin tomorrow would not be cancelled. You don't have to work so hard. Qin Feier rubbed the ointment on Lu Qin's hand and said coquettishly, tell them to control the number of people at Haijin tomorrow. They can't sign their hands off like they did at Wangfujing today. She knew that Lu Qin was working so hard not only to promote the sales of his album. To be honest, for the two of them, money was just a number. They had earned enough money that they could never spend it all in a few lifetimes. The most important thing was his fans. Lu Qin was used to not letting his fans down, but he had too many fans. It's not a big problem. Lu Qin clenched his fists and smiled. I wasn't used to signing so many autographs before. You'll get used to it after a few more times. It's a habit that can be cultivated. Qin Feier squeezed his hand a few times. Look at you. After saying that, Lu Qin rushed to Haijin the next morning for the second signing. What moved him was that although the enthusiasm of the fans in Haijin was no less than that of the fans in Beijing, everyone lined up in an orderly manner at the signing event at Xinhua Bookstore in Haijin. Almost everyone was holding the album but did not ask for his autograph. These fans obviously knew what happened last night. They didn't want to increase Lu Qin's burden. They just wanted to meet Lu Qin, say a few words and take a photo with Lu Qin. Because of that, Lu Chen sang 2 songs from the album at the signing event. The signing event was filmed by many fans and uploaded to the internet, causing a heated discussion among netizens. Just as Lu Chen said, he had the best fans in the world. Next, in Huhai, Hangzhou, Shanghai, Shanqing, Shaqing, Lu Chen swept across half of China like a whirlwind, bringing his new album to a whole new level. Chapter 890. I'm back. Shi Kai pushed open the door excitedly and shouted at his roommates who were sitting in the living room. One of his roommates, Min Wenlin, was playing a game. He said without turning his head, "Why are you back so late? Have you eaten dinner? There are leftovers in the kitchen. You can heat them up." Another roommate smiled. "Hurry up, we're waiting for you to do a dungeon together." "What dungeon?" Shi Kai grinned. "I don't want to play Spells Word anymore. I'm going to change games." "What?" The 3 roommates were shocked. They all turned around to look at Shi Kai. Min Wenlin even stood up to touch Shi Kai's forehead. "You don't have a fever, do you?" Spells Word was an online game released by the famous game company Tempest last year. It was a fantasy RPG game. It won the love of many gamers due to its high quality. Shi Kai was a fan of Spells Word. He started playing the game right after the server was released. He was considered a veteran player of Spells Word. His main account was level 72 and he belonged to the top army in the entire server. Most importantly, all 3 of his roommates had been playing Demon Sword under Shi Kai's guidance. Now that Shi Kai suddenly said that he wanted to play something else instead of Demon Sword, how could they not be surprised? "Go go go." Shi Kai dodged Min Wenlin's hand and said in disdain, "You're the one who's horny." He sat down on his computer chair and took out 4 game cards from the bag he just brought back. He smiled. "Let's play the Smiling the Proud Wanderer." Shi Kai was a technician at an internet company in Shan City. He had been working in Shan City for 3 years after graduating from university. To save on living expenses, he rented this apartment with a few of his colleagues in the company. They were around the same age and had a good relationship. What was rare was that they all liked to play games. They often played online games together, killing monsters and doing dungeons together. It was a rare leisure activity in life. Due to his high gaming skills, Shi Kai naturally became the leader of the 4. The Smiling the Proud Wanderer? Min Wenlin picked up one of the game cards on the computer table and asked hesitantly, "Is it fun?" He knew about the Smiling the Proud Wanderer. It was quite popular a while ago, but there were many new games released. Moreover, he was playing Demon Sword, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Shi Kai picked up his teacup and took a big gulp of tea. He said, "Our guild's vice president recommended it to me. He tried it out on the first day of the server's launch and it was pretty good. The most important thing is that the fees are out now. It's very generous." One of his roommates was surprised. "It's for a fee?" Demon Sword was a free online game. Shi Kai sneered and said, "It's good that there's a fee. Everything that's free is F***king a scam. Take Demon Sword for example. Our level is already considered very high, right? Didn't you get hacked to death by a little RMB warrior yesterday?" The 3 roommates nodded in agreement. Like Shi Kai, they were all from ordinary families. Although the cost of living in Mountain City was not particularly high, the expenses of clothing, food, and housing were not low, so they tried their best to save as much as possible. Back when they played Demon Sword with Shi Kai, they also liked the game because it was free. However, when they first fell into the trap, the game was still fine. Now, the developers were racking their brains to make money and introduced all kinds of items that required fees. The most typical one was to smash weapons. A level 50 gold weapon to 9 stars would cost at least 5,000 yuan. If a few soul gems were embedded, it would be normal for it to cost tens of thousands. How could they afford that? However, if they didn't smash equipment, they wouldn't be able to PK with just their level. Those that did would be like last night when Shi Kai led everyone to kill a boss. They met a little warrior who was stealing the boss. They thought that they could easily defeat him with 4 against 1, but they were completely destroyed. The reason was simple. Although the opponent's level was low, he had a full set of 9-star gold soul equipment. He killed Min Wenlin, the thin-skinned mage, with 1 slash, and Shi Kai, the main tank, couldn't even heal himself with potions. In the end, 2 of them died and the other 2 were sent flying. It was a great humiliation. But what could they do? It was their fault for not spending money. Shi Kai said, "Anyway, I don't want to play these free games anymore. This Smiling the Proud Wanderer doesn't have any items that require fees. It's just selling some cards. 50 cents per hour or 50 yuan per month. 50 cents per hour or 50 yuan per month. It really wasn't expensive. The most important thing was that there were no items that required fees. This meant that it was fair to all players. There wouldn't be a situation where the four of them could only PK one low-level opponent. Kai patted the game cards on the table and said, "I bought 4 monthly cards. The new server will open at 8 tonight. Let's play the new server together." Min Wenlin asked, "Then what about our Demon Sword accounts?" Kai waved his hand, "Sell them all online, sell as many as you can." "Oh right," he thought of something and said excitedly, "The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer has an auction system. If we get good equipment, we can sell it in the auction house for silver or RMB. That works?" The 3 roommates exclaimed. Normally, equipment trading in games was very troublesome. It was easy to get scammed when trading on your own. Using a third party to trade would have to deduct the transaction fees and it would take a long time to get back the money. The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer actually supported cash auctions. That was really great for gamers like them. If they were lucky enough to get a top-tier equipment, they could sell it for hundreds or thousands. Wouldn't that be great? One of the roommates shouted, "Stop talking, hurry up and download the app." Yes, yes, yes. Everyone quickly closed Demon Sword and downloaded the app according to the website on the game card. Then they put their Demon Sword accounts up for sale on a third-party platform. Their equipment was all obtained by themselves, so it wasn't worth much. However, their account levels were not bad, so they could sell for at least 300 or 400 yuan. Even a mosquito was meat. In the end, Min Wenlin realized that a large number of Demon Sword accounts were on sale these few days. Many of them were top-tier accounts that were made with RMB. Accounts that were made with tens of thousands of yuan were sold for 2,000 or 3,000 yuan. It was a huge discount. Although they couldn't be sure that this was because of the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer, it was obvious that Demon Sword's market was plummeting. The 4 of them would probably have to go through a discount before they could sell their accounts. However, they didn't care anymore. Since they were determined to play the new game, it wasn't a pity to lose Demon Sword. They might as well sell their accounts at half the price and wait for the download to finish. At 8 at night, before the new server opened, the 4 of them successfully registered their accounts and logged into the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer. Chapter 891. The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer was Happy Entertainment's flagship project in 2018. The company invested a lot of manpower and resources into this Wuxia MMORPG, and even hired external help. It was finally released on New Year's Day 2019. On the 1st, there were 10 servers in total. In just half an hour, all 10 servers were full, and there were still a lot of players waiting in line. Although Happy Entertainment was prepared, they didn't expect it to be this popular. They added another 5 servers on the spot, but it still wasn't enough to satisfy the players' enthusiasm. On the 7th, the number of servers for the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer increased to 50, with more than 1 million daily active players. For a company that had only been established for 2 years, and it was their first big MMORPG, Happy Entertainment's success was dazzling. The key was that the game was well received in the market. In the week since the public beta, all sorts of reviews filled the forums and QQ groups, and the game's fan club was formed. On the 10th of January, Happy Entertainment officially released a top-up card. There were 2 ways to purchase it, online and offline. The number of top-up cards sold exceeded 30 million on that day, with more than 90% of the players buying the monthly card. On the 11th, the number increased to 100 million. If one player bought a monthly card, that would mean 2 million paying customers, and this was only the beginning. Such outstanding results indicated that the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer's success was unstoppable. As long as the company didn't do anything stupid, it wouldn't be a problem for it to be popular for 2 to 3 years. The success of the Smiling, Proud Wanderer also caused a great impact in the 2 circles. The first was obviously the online gaming circle. As a rising black horse, Happy Entertainment received a lot of attention due to the success of casual games like Happy Farm and Angry Birds. However, not many people had high hopes for the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer's IP MMORPG. This was because this market had already turned into a sea of blood. Large domestic and international video game companies were fighting fiercely for it. From computers to phones, it could be said that there was smoke everywhere. As a new company, Happy Entertainment had no problem playing casual games, but the production and operation of large-scale MMORPG was a different story. There were many ambitious new companies that entered this market, but they ended up with their heads broken and ended up in a miserable state. In the eyes of the big companies, Happy Entertainment wasn't qualified enough. They didn't have any background to speak of. They might be able to make some money from their IP, but it would only be a flash in the pan. The other thing was the theme. Currently, the mainstream online games on the market were mainly shooting games, real-time strategy games and fantasy RPG games, which included most of the players. However, the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer was an unprecedented martial arts game. It was not easy to make a mountain monster. Also, Happy Entertainment didn't put enough effort into advertising. The media rarely saw advertisements for the Smiling, Proud Wanderer. They were relying on the company's founder, Lu Qin, to gain some popularity on his blog, making it seem rather low-key. How could people believe that the success of the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer was inevitable? Before the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer went into beta, there were many negative voices in the gaming circle. Many people doubted Happy Entertainment's ability, suspecting that it was another game that relied on IP to make money. However, the truth gave these doubting voices a powerful counterattack. The Smiling, Proud Wanderer was a great success as soon as it was released. It not only attracted a large number of players, but also converted a large proportion of players into paying customers. This was a great achievement. Free games were popular on the market at the moment. They relied on selling items such as gold, gems, skins, and cards to make money. The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer's use of point-based payment was a step backwards. This was because online games in the past sold point-based payment cards. Later on, free games became popular, especially in the mobile game era. The most successful games could make billions in a month by selling items. The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer didn't take this path that was already proven to be profitable, but still wanted to make a lot of money. It was hard for people to understand why. As for the other circle, it was the entertainment circle. In the past, there were precedents of movies, TV shows, and novels being adapted into games. Especially popular online novels, it was common for them to be adapted into movies and TV shows before being released into games. However, these types of IP that were suitable for game adaptation were rarely successful when they were made into games. The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer series of successes were extremely dazzling. Some people estimated that according to the current trend, the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer could bring at least $5 billion in revenue to Happy Entertainment. With the success of the game, Happy Entertainment was qualified to be listed. And Lu Qin owned 70% of Happy Entertainment's shares. This made people jealous. The scary thing was that the Smiling, the Proud Wanderer series of IP adaptations had only just begun. Qin Fei Media also owned the rights to The Legend of the Condor Heroes. The Legend of the Condor Heroes was another wuxia novel after The Smiling, the Proud Wanderer. Currently, the sales of the novel had surpassed the former. The value of the IP was immeasurable. In addition, Qin Fei Media also announced that they owned the rights to the other 3 wuxia novels, The Return of the Condor Heroes, Demigods and Semidevils, and The Deer and the Cauldron. At this point, Lu Qin's wuxia IP plan has been presented in front of everyone. He holds a large number of shares in Qin Fei Media, Star Factory Media and Happy Entertainment. His ambition to build his own entertainment dynasty with the help of a series of wuxia IP can be said to be clear. Even if this empire was just starting to take shape, Lu Qin was already at the top of the entertainment circle, above all other celebrities. He was young and had unparalleled talent. His rise was unstoppable. Looking back at Lu Qin's journey to stardom, it had only been 4 years since his debut. How could people not be emotional? In comparison, the explosive sales of Lu Qin's third album, Lu Qin, was not as eye-catching. This was because no matter how many albums Lu Qin sold, it only proved that he was a successful singer. His career was no longer limited to pop music, but expanded to a wider world. Now, when people in the industry talked about Lu Qin other than envy, they could only say that he didn't get enough awards and didn't have any titles like King of Singers or Best Actor. However, in China, these small honors were just icing on the cake for top stars. Everyone believed that Lu Qin would get a great harvest in this year's Music and Film Awards, because no one could ignore his success and miracles. Chapter 892. On January 15th, Lu Qin ended the national promotion tour of his new album and returned to Beijing. In less than half a month, he traveled to 7 big cities in China and stayed in Hong Kong for 2 days. Finally, he flew back to Beijing from Taiwan, covering a total distance of thousands of kilometers. And in every city, Lu Qin has received a fanatical welcome from local fans, so that the number of people entering the Xinhua bookstore in the following cities has been limited and screened through computer numbering. Otherwise, the pressure of reception would be too great. Although it was very hard, the results were also very remarkable. Since the release of Lu Qin's new album on the 1st, the total sales had reached 6.5 million copies by the evening of the 14th. Although most of them were digital albums, such a result had broken the first week and second week sales records of the first 2 albums, and it was only a matter of time before it broke the total sales record. Not only in China, such a high sales volume was definitely among the best in the world, enough to be compared with several top singers in Britain and the United States. Therefore, there were many jealous comments in the circle that the album sales record set by Lu Qin could only be broken by himself, and there was no exception. In direct proportion to the sales of the album was the reputation of the fans. Lu Qin defended his unshakable position in the pop music world with his third album, and also erected a solid monument for the title of the most outstanding composer. Driven by this album, the originally somewhat quiet pop music world became active again. Many singers and record media companies were seeking China-style works, hoping to take advantage of this wave of popularity. But for Lu Qin, no matter how high the sales of the new album and how warm the market response was, it was insignificant. The most important thing was to return home to accompany Qin Fei. Opening the door with the key, Lu Qin put the suitcase against the wall and immediately smelled the aroma of food. Lu Qin couldn't help but be a little surprised because there were very few meals at home. Occasionally he would cook at home. With a trace of doubt, he put on his shoes and walked towards the kitchen. There were a few steaming plates of home-cooked dishes on the dining table outside. The dishes were very simple, mainly scrambled eggs, braised pork, vegetables, and a plate of fried peanuts. In the kitchen, a graceful beauty wearing an apron was making soup. She carefully picked up the lid of the casserole and scooped some soup with a spoon. Then she added some salt and covered the casserole again. Suddenly, a pair of hands reached out from behind her and hugged her waist. Qin Fei was so shocked that he almost dropped the spoon in his hand. Lu Qin held her in his arms and rested his chin on her shoulder. He greedily inhaled his lover's scent and asked with a smile, "Why do you want to cook yourself?" "You scared me to death." Qin Fei, who had come back to his senses, knocked him on the head with a spoon and said angrily, "What kind of surprise attack is this? It doesn't matter if you scare me, but what if you scare the baby? The baby hasn't even taken shape yet, right?" Lu Qin smiled bitterly. "Honey, I know I was wrong." Qin Fei snorted. "You heartless woman. I knew you were coming back today, so I specially cooked for you. I didn't expect you." Lu Qin hugged her tightly. "I was really wrong." Then he leaned over and kissed Qin Fei's cheek to express his apology. Qin Fei giggled because of his stubble. She twisted her head to avoid it, but Lu Qin kissed her on the mouth. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. The two hugged and kissed in the kitchen, lingering tenderly. But considering the baby in Qin Fei's belly, the two controlled themselves well, although they were burning with passion. Qin Fei was in the early stage of pregnancy, when the placenta was forming and in an unstable state. The secretion of progesterone to prevent miscarriage was not sufficient, so miscarriage or threatened miscarriage was the most likely. It was their first baby, so they had to be careful. "Have a taste of my cooking." Qin Fei asked Lu Qin to sit down at the dining table. She scooped a bowl of soup and a bowl of rice for him and looked at him expectantly. Lu Qin didn't stand on ceremony. He picked up a scrambled egg with his chopsticks and drank 2 mouthfuls of soup. After swallowing it in 2 or 3 mouthfuls, he praised, "It's really good. It's so delicious." Qin Fei rolled her eyes at Lu Qin and said, "You only know how to make me happy. I just started learning how to cook." "How is it good?" "Your acting skills are not good either." "It's very good for a beginner." Lu Qin smiled and asked, "Why do you want to cook by yourself? Didn't you say you would find a nanny to take care of you? Didn't my sister find one for you?" Before he left the capital, he had discussed with Lu Shi to find an experienced nanny to take care of Qin Fei. Qin Fei said, "Sister Lu Shi told me, but I don't need anyone to take care of me for the time being. Let's talk about it later. It's boring to stay at home, so I learned to cook by myself." She picked up some vegetables for Lu Qin with her chopsticks and said, "Hurry up and eat." "I've already eaten." Although Qin Fei's cooking skills were not very good as a beginner, the scrambled eggs were a little burnt, the vegetables were overcooked, and the ginseng chicken soup was not tasty enough. Lu Qin still ate with relish and ate 3 bowls of rice in a row. After dinner, Lu Qin naturally took on the task of cleaning up the dishes. At this moment it was already dark. Through the glass window of the kitchen, they could see the lights of thousands of families outside. Although his body was still very tired, Lu Qin's spirit was completely relaxed. No matter how hard it was outside, home was always a warm harbor. Especially for stars like him and Qin Fei, such a plain but warm daily life at home was extraordinarily rare. Tian. After putting all the dishes into the dishwasher and wiping the table, Lu Qin washed his hands and returned to the living room. Qin Fei was sitting on the sofa watching TV. The large laser projection screen was playing the scene of Lu Qin signing in the North City of Bao Island yesterday. A lonely lamp stands at the window. I pretend that you haven't left yet behind the door. The old place is like revisiting. The round moon is more lonely. The candle awake in the middle of the night can't bear to criticize me. A pot of wine drifting to the ends of the world is difficult to drink. After you left, the wine warms the memories, the yearning thinned. On the screen, Lu Qin was singing East Wind Break from the album. This work with a strong China style was widely praised. Together with blue and white porcelain, it was regarded as a representative work of China style. Currently it was a complete mess. Lu Qin sang 3 songs at the signing in the north city of Bao Island. East Wind Break was the finale. He walked over to the sofa and sat down, gently pulling Qin Fei'er into his arms. The two were silent, but it was incomparably warm and sweet. And the song continued. Who is playing East Wind Break, with the pipa, time peeling off the wall, I see when I was young, still remember that we were still very young, and now the faint sound of the zither. I'm waiting for you. Note, East Wind Break, lyricist, Fang Wenshan / composer, Zhou Jieluan. Chapter 893. Beijing New Era Art Park, Qinfei Media Headquarters. Good morning, President Lu. Good morning, President Qin. Good morning, boss. Good morning, madam. When Lu Qin and Qin Fei'er appeared together in the company, the employees' reaction was extremely enthusiastic, especially those who had just joined the company. Their eyes were shining. After nearly 2 years of development, Qinfei Media had become a well-known company in the industry. Although it had not yet achieved the scale of a crocodile, the speed of its rise was so fast that it had left all of its competitors far behind, and its revenue had reached new highs. In contrast, due to the rapid development of various businesses, the number of employees continues to increase. At present, the office building is overwhelmed. The company is negotiating with the Park Management Committee to rent a 7-story building nearby to meet the needs of the company's expansion. In the future, Qinfei Media will be divided into many subsidiaries such as music, film and television, digital special effects, performing arts training, etc. In the company's VIP reception room, Lu Qin met several guests who came to visit Qinfei Media headquarters today. They were all from Beijing Television, including Qin Qi, who had a good relationship with Lu Qin. Qin Qi met Lu Qin when he first made his debut. The former also gave a lot of help to Lu Qin. After Lu Qin became famous, he had a good relationship with the director of Beijing Television, which also depended on this deputy director. But now Qin Qi has been promoted. He replaced the original director at the end of last year and became the new director of Beijing Television. Today is also the first time he came to Qinfei Media as the new director. From deputy director to director, although it is only a step up, in fact the status of the two is very different. With Qin Qi's current level, it is condescending to come to the headquarters of Qinfei Media to see Lu Qin. But Qin Qi did not put on the airs of a director. In front of Lu Qin, Qin Fei'er and Lu Shi he still smiled kindly. When he saw Lu Qin he joked, "Superstar, you are finally back. I have been waiting for you in Beijing." Qin Qi made an appointment with Lu Qin as early as half a month ago, but Lu Qin just started the national signing of his new album, so the meeting time was set for today. Lu Qin sweated, "Director Qin, you put a lot of pressure on me." Qin Qi laughed, "You are under a lot of pressure, but I am under even more pressure. Tell me the truth, is Star Factory planning to cooperate with Shonen TV on a new program?" Lu Qin said helplessly, "Director Qin, although I have shares in Star Factory, I don't manage it." He didn't expect Qin Qi to come over to talk to him about this. Obviously, the cooperation negotiations between Star Factory and Xiangnan Satellite TV were leaked and known by this side. When Lu Qin went to Hangzhou to participate in Zhidong Satellite TV's New Year's Eve concert more than half a month ago, Tian looked for him to discuss the new variety show project. At that time they also talked about Shonen TV. Lu Qin threw a new program plan to her, and then he didn't manage it anymore. Because Tian, who was in charge of Star Factory, had long been able to take charge of things on her own, and he didn't need to work hard. The most important thing was that, although Tian had a large number of shares in Star Factory Media, neither Lu Qin nor Qin Fei'er interfered with the company's operation, and allowed Tian to play her talents. Therefore, whether Tian cooperated with Zhidong Satellite TV or Shonen TV, Lu Qin would give his support. But now that Qin Qi personally came to ask, he was a little embarrassed and could only explain tactfully. Qin Qi was dissatisfied, "You are getting more and more unkind. Last time you couldn't come to the New Year's Eve concert, and now you are going to cooperate with Shonen TV. Don't say that you don't care, you must have come up with a plan for the new project, right?" Lu Chen was speechless. In fact, the program plan that Lu Chen threw to Tian Tian was still in a strictly confidential stage. It would only be officially released after the creative copyright registration was completed, and it would only be limited to a small part of the content. But in the cooperation negotiation with Shonan TV, she didn't need to come up with a specific plan. They recognized the famous brand of Lu Chen, and their sincerity for cooperation was very sufficient. Beijing Television had only heard the rumors and of course, it was impossible to know more. But Chen Qi knew Lu Chen too well, and he was very clear about the inside story behind the Star Factory's glory, so he instinctively made an accurate judgment. Lu Chen's Midas touch name was known to everyone in the circle. As the director of Beijing Television, how could Chen Qi tolerate a variety show that might be a hit in the ratings to be poached away by Shonan TV? It should be known that for Beijing Television, Shonan TV was its biggest competitor. Chen Qi continued to say, "Am I right? I know that little girl doesn't have that kind of ability. She still listens to you, so why not talk to our Beijing Television?" The director of a satellite TV station was acting like a rogue. Lu Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said with a wry smile, "Director Chen, I really don't care about the Star Factory. If you want to cooperate, you can talk to Tian Tian directly. I think she will definitely give you face." "Do you think I didn't look for her?" Chen Qi said bitterly, "That girl is so clever. She used my side to bargain with Shonan TV. Unless the negotiation broke down, it would not have been my turn." Chen Fei couldn't help but laugh when he heard this. "You're still laughing," Chen Qi said bitterly. "Don't forget how Shonan TV treated your husband." Chen Fei pursed his lips and smiled. "Director Chen, I won't talk. I'll just watch." Chen Qi pointed to the big star of his family speechlessly, with an expression of exasperation. Lu Shi couldn't stand it anymore and said, "Director Chen, it's useless for you to argue with Lu Chen. He really doesn't care about the Star Factory, but we still have a lot of cooperation with Beijing Television." Chen Qi was actually waiting for this sentence. He immediately smiled and said, "Well, Lu Chen's first concert at the Olympic Sports Center must be recorded on TV. In addition, if the Star Factory and Shonan TV break down, they must give priority to us. In the future, they must also give priority to us to discuss new projects." He said several things in one breath. Obviously, he had already prepared for it. He was just advancing in order to retreat. Lu Chen's first solo concert would be held at the Beijing Olympic Sports Center on February 14th. As the first stop of his national concert tour, this concert attracted countless attention and could be called a major event in the domestic pop music world this year. In order to ensure the income from tickets, solo concerts were usually not broadcast live on TV, or even recorded. At most, online versions were sold. Under normal circumstances, TV stations would not record a star's concert. At most, they would do a news interview. However, Lu Chen's influence was too great, so Beijing Television hoped to record this concert. In addition to being used for program broadcasting, it would also be used as an important material for Lu Chen's personal documentary. Chen Qi had to swallow this delicious piece of cake. Chapter 894. Beijing Hohai. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the Forget Grass Bar, which was located on the pedestrian street, had just hung up the open sign when a guest wearing a windbreaker and sunglasses pushed open the door and walked in. There were many bars in Hohai, and their main business hours were from evening to midnight. Some bars opened earlier, opening at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but there weren't many guests in those bars. Most of the waiters hadn't come to work yet, and the performance stage was empty. There was only a set of drums placed in the corner, and a few lights were turned on inside, but the light wasn't very bright. When the first guest of the day came in, Qin Jinhao was wiping the bar with a rag. In the past, he never did this kind of thing because it was a waiter's job, but since he got married and had a child, he suddenly liked the work of washing and wiping. When the bar opened for business, he wiped the counter clean, which gave him a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. Most importantly, Qin Jinhao's wife was in the bar, accompanying him to tidy up the wine cabinet. There was a silent tacit understanding between them, which was the warmth and sweetness that belonged to the two of them. The guest in the windbreaker sat down in front of the bar and said, "Lady boss, give me a glass of beer." The lady boss had just stuffed a bottle of champagne back into the cabinet. She didn't raise her head and said, "You're really early. This is the first guest of the day, this glass is on me." The guest smiled and said, "Oh, how can I accept this?" The lady boss suddenly felt that something was wrong. She suddenly raised her head and saw the guest take off his sunglasses, revealing a very familiar face. "Ah." She suddenly let out a scream and rushed out of the bar with lightning speed. She opened her arms and gave the other party a strong hug. Xiao Lu. Qin Jianhao, who was wiping the table at the bar, was shocked by his wife's scream, but when he saw the face of the guest, he couldn't help but smile. Lu Qin smiled and patted Sister Na's back and said, "My godson's mother, you've lost weight." The son of Qin Jianhao and Sister Na recognized Lu Qin as his godfather. However, this godfather was usually too busy. He only saw his son a few times and gave him a lot of gifts. Sister Na laughed and let go of Lu Qin. She punched him on the shoulder and asked, "How come you have time to come over today? Could it be that you miss my son? Did you bring any gifts?" Lu Qin sweated. "I'll make it up next time." Speaking of which, he hadn't been to Forget Grass Bar for a long time, mainly because he was too busy with work, but this didn't affect his friendship with Qin Jianhao and Sister Na. Some friends, even if they hadn't seen each other for years, would still remain the same. Although Lu Qin was now standing at the peak of his life, he had never felt that he was high above others. Don't forget your original intention. This bar carried a lot of Lu Qin's memories, and it was also where his original intention was. Qin Jianhao poured a glass of beer for Lu Qin. Lu Qin wasn't polite. He picked up the glass and took a big gulp. Then he took out 2 concert tickets from his windbreaker pocket and put them on the bar counter. "I have a concert next month. You guys must come." "I knew it." Qin Jianhao picked up the tickets and glanced at them. "I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I didn't expect it to be so late." Yes, yes. Sister Na grabbed the tickets as if she had found a treasure. Love for a lifetime? Not a bad name. Lu Qin was ashamed. In fact, based on his debut experience after his first album, You Who Sat Next to Me came out, he was qualified to hold a solo concert. As a result, it was dragged on for 3 years. In the circle, many singers don't have any big popular works, and they also make their solo concerts spectacular, losing money and earning money to get a beautiful record. In contrast, Lu Qin's first solo concert really came too late. It was no problem for him to sing several times a year, and it couldn't exhaust the enthusiasm of his fans. And tonight, the ticket booking for Lu Qin's solo concert, which will be held at the Beijing Olympic Sports Center on Valentine's Day on February 14th, will be opened at Qinfei Media and QQ Music. The tickets had been printed 2 days ago. In addition to the pre-sale portion, there was also a portion that was reserved for people to give away. This was because many people had asked for the tickets a long time ago, including Tan Hong, Lu Gangxing, Shifang, and other good friends in the circle. Of course, Lu Qin didn't forget Qin Jianhao and his wife. He specially delivered the tickets to their door. Qin Jianhao and Sister Na looked at each other and smiled. They were very moved in their hearts. Although the two don't mix in the circle, they have seen a lot of things in the circle. People like Lu Qin, who are affectionate and righteous and from beginning to end, are really rare. Squeaked at this time, the door of the bar was pushed open again, and a young man came in with a guitar case. "Boss lady boss." He greeted politely but not very skilled, and there was a trace of immaturity in his appearance and voice. Sister Na smiled and said, "Xiao Gao, you're here." The young man nodded and suddenly his eyes focused. He saw Lu Qin sitting in front of the bar. Although Lu Qin was sideways, the young man named Xiao Gao still recognized Lu Qin at a glance. Lu Qin is his idol. He came to work in Forget Grass Bar because Lu Qin made his debut in this bar. In fact, in today's bars in Hohai, Forget Grass Bar has become a sacred place for folk singers. Many singers have sung here, and it is not easy to become a resident singer of Forget Grass Bar. Qin Jianhao waved to him, "Come here, let me introduce you." Xiao Gao suddenly woke up. He trotted over without thinking, stood in front of Lu Qin, and was so excited that his face turned red. "Lu? Teacher Lu, hello." Lu Qin smiled and said, "Hello." Qin Jianhao said, "He's the new resident singer, Gao Yong. He plays the guitar well but his singing skills are so-so. He's written a few songs so he's got some talent. Can you give me some advice?" Lu Qin said, "Okay." He knows that if Qin Jianhao didn't cherish talent, he wouldn't have recommended him and he didn't need his help. A few words of advice may make this young singer's life completely different. Gao Yong suddenly felt like he was hit by a pie falling from the sky, and he was about to faint. It was Sister Na who reminded him to sing on stage. While Gao Yong was adjusting the guitar, Sister Na said to Lu Qin, "He is a bit like you." Lu Qin smiled and didn't say anything. Even if Sister Na didn't say it, he could see some of his own shadow in Gao Yong. It's just that time has inadvertently gone far away. Chapter 895. Boss? Gao Yong hugged his guitar and looked at Qin Jianhao with uneasy eyes. He had just sung 2 songs, one was his favorite, Lu Chen's You Who Sat Next to Me, and the other was his own most proud work. Normally, Gao Yong would be full of confidence when singing this work, and he would be able to win the favor of the audience. However, when he performed in front of Lu Chen, he did not have the slightest confidence, and his worries even affected his performance. To be honest, Gao Yong wanted to slap himself. He did not know how many times he had dreamed of today's scene, but when his dream came true, his performance was terrible. Lu Chen did not give a direct evaluation. He just whispered a few words to Qin Jianhao and Sister Na, nodded at him and left. This made Gao Yong very depressed. He realized that he might have missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be able to become a resident singer of Forget Grass Bar is not an easy thing. In this circle, it is unknown how many unknown singers wanted to occupy a position here but were unable to do so. There are also many small famous or even well-known singers who took the initiative to come here to sing for free. In Forget Grass Bar there are the best singers and bands in Hohai, the most picky and enthusiastic fans, customers, and many talent scouts from entertainment media and record companies, as well as all kinds of entertainment reporters, music critics and so on. They all came here because of one person, and that is Lu Chen. Nowadays in the entire pop music world, there is no one who does not know of Lu Chen's experience of making his debut and becoming famous. The beginning of his journey to the top was in this bar, where he used the song You Who Sat Next to Me to open the road of incomparable stardom. And Lu Chen is not only friends with the bar's owner and lady boss, but also has shares in Forget Grass Bar. Although the proportion is very small, it is precisely this deep relationship that makes countless Beijing drifting singers who are eager to become famous flock like ducks. Some of them want to repeat the path of Lu Chen, some out of worship for Lu Chen, and some hope to be able to get a chance to prove themselves, but opportunities were few and far between. There was a popular joke in Hohai's circle that it was more difficult to enter the Forget Grass Bar to work as a resident singer than to enter Beijing Conservatory or Zhongyin. Not only was Gao Yong extremely lucky to get this opportunity, but he was also able to play and sing his own work in front of Lu Chen. It was an extremely glorious thing to say, and he might even be favored by an entertainment agency because of it. However, things seem to have been messed up by him. Don't think too much. Qin Jianhao patted him on the shoulder with a smile and said, "You're just too nervous. However, Lu Chen's evaluation of you is not bad, but don't expect too much. What you need most now is to settle down and accumulate." Qin Jianhao quite liked Gao Yong. He could see traces of Lu Chen in the latter. They were both young, talented, and untainted by the things in the industry. However, the current Gao Yong was still too immature. Gao Yong was somewhat at a loss. Qin Jianhao's words made him feel happy, but also a little disappointed. Sister Na said softly, "Little Gao, what Jianhao means is that you don't be impatient, don't worry about missing the opportunity, study hard and polish your work seriously. Gold will always shine." Gao Yong finally understood and nodded hard. "I will work hard." He was no longer confused and regained his courage and confidence. Sister Na and Qin Jianhao saw this and couldn't help but smile at each other. The latter took out a concert ticket and handed it to him. "This is a gift from Lu Chen. Work hard." Gao Yong took the ticket, and his heart was about to fly. He had long wanted to buy a ticket to Lu Chen's concert, and even deliberately saved a sum of money. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to buy a ticket. He didn't expect that Lu Chen would directly give him one, and it was a VIP ticket priced at 2,888 yuan. The anonymous VIP ticket has laser digital anti-counterfeiting, but there is no identity verification. Although it is not in the best position, it can be transferred to others. Gao Yong knew very well the preciousness of this ticket. If he wanted to sell it, it was estimated that he could sell it for several times the price, which was worth the money he worked hard to earn in a month or two. But Gao Yong didn't have such an idea at all. He held the ticket tightly as if holding his future. At 7:30 p.m. on January 18th, the tickets for the first concert of Lu Chen's Zhong Ai Yixing Beijing Olympic Sports Center were sold simultaneously on the official website of Qinfei Media and the official website of QQ Music, with a total of 75,000 tickets. The Olympic Sports Center is one of the largest stadiums in Beijing, and is often used to hold large-scale performance activities. It is the dream of countless singers to hold a solo concert in this circular stadium. However, the venue of the Olympic Sports Center is not so easy to apply for. There are many singers who apply every year, but only a few can really pass it. Qinfei Media also applied for Lu Chen a few months ago, and it was finally approved. The Olympic Sports Center can accommodate more than 100,000 spectators in total, but if it is arranged as a concert, the number of spectators will be reduced by about 10,000 to 20,000, and the total number of tickets for Lu Chen's solo concert is about 83,000. Of course, these tickets can't all be released at once because many of them are complimentary tickets, some are prizes for fan lottery, and a small number are reserved for mobile use. As a result, the 75,000 tickets that were put on the two websites on time at 7:30 were snapped up in just 10 seconds, and QQ Music only took 4 or 5 seconds to announce that they were sold out. This is very shocking. It should be known that among the 75,000 tickets, there are the cheapest ordinary seat tickets of 388 yuan, and there are super VIP tickets of 18,888 yuan. But no matter what kind of tickets, they were all sold out in a very short time. In fact, such a situation is not surprising, because the rules and time of ticket sales were announced a week ago. Countless fans have registered accounts and registered their ID cards in advance, just for tonight's rush. Many fans are not from Beijing or around Beijing at all, and they are still fighting online. If it weren't for the fact that Qinfei Media's official website has recently been expanded and renovated, it is estimated that the server will be down. Even so, there are still a large number of fans who failed to get tickets and have run to blogs to complain. It's gone in 1 second, so depressing. I was stuck when I clicked on the payment button. As a result, it's gone after a refresh. I'm vomiting blood. Whoever is kind enough to let me have a ticket, I'm willing to pay double the price. It's bound to your ID card. You can't get in if you don't match the ID card. It's too expensive. Are all the people who got the tickets cheating? I didn't get one either. In the comment area of Qinfei Media and Lu Chen's blog, they are full of complaints and dissatisfaction. Chapter 896. In recent years, the entertainment market has been flourishing. Every year, there are dozens or even hundreds of solo concerts of stars in China, held in different cities, and there are even more commercial performances. Opening a concert is a symbol of a singer's strength, which has a considerable impact on his status in the circle. Therefore, some second and third-tier singers have to open a concert even if they are not popular enough, and even hold it in a large venue. There are really a lot of singers who pretend to be powerful. Although it is difficult for them to sell too many tickets, the ticket price is still not ambiguous, so there often appears the situation of scalpers selling tickets at a 50% or 30% discount before the concert begins. And for stars with real appeal, concert tickets are not worried about sales. In order to increase profits, some agencies hoard their own tickets to artificially increase the popularity, and then use scalpers to increase the price and sell them. Lu Chen and Qinfei Media didn't do such a tasteless thing, so they put 75,000 tickets on their official website and QQ platform at one time, but they didn't expect them to be snapped up in seconds. According to the data from QQ Music at 7:30, the number of hits on the ticket purchase page exceeded 1 million, and the number of netizens who snapped up tickets exceeded 300,000, while QQ Music only had 40,000 tickets to sell. A large number of fans were very unhappy that they couldn't get tickets, so they blew up the blogs of Lu Chen and Qinfei Media. This made people speechless. In fact, Qinfei Media still underestimated the enthusiasm of fans and the long-suppressed demand. After all, Lu Chen's concert came a little late 4 years later. After emergency consultations, Lu Chen and Qinfei Media teamed up to hold a lucky draw on their blog and used 1,000 free tickets to appease these disappointed fans. Although compared with those fans who couldn't buy tickets, 1,000 tickets was really pitiful, but it also reflected Lu Chen's sincerity. There were only so many tickets, and it was impossible to increase the number of seats in the Olympic Sports Center. As a result, this temporary ticket lottery made the visit data of Wave's blog skyrocket. The number of reposts of Lu Chen and Qinfei Media's lottery blog exceeded 1 million in just 1 hour, setting a new record. After all, the lucky ones were in the minority, but fans who couldn't get tickets and lottery tickets had other choices. Because after Beijing, Lu Chen will tour several big cities such as Haijin, Huhai, Hangzhou, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Shanqing, Shaoqing, and tickets for different shows will be released in turn. With the tickets sold out, Lu Chen's first concert at the Olympic Sports Center also entered the countdown stage. Look, Teacher Lu, this is our site layout, mainly the stage location. This is the distribution map of the sound system. We have chosen Germany's PVM, which has 28 sound units, including 16 tweeters, 8 mids and 4 bass units. It has a built-in multi-channel power amplifier module and DSP digital processing channel. It can achieve precise coverage of specific areas and prevent sound from overflowing into areas that do not need coverage. There are also giant LED live broadcast screens, a total of 4. In the conference room of Qinfei Media's headquarters in Beijing's New Era Art Park, pictures flashed on the projection screen. A middle-aged man held a laser pointer and introduced to Lu Qinfei and Lu Shi with slight excitement. This middle-aged man was the largest cultural performance contractor in Beijing. Its scale and strength were among the top in China. Since its establishment, it had successfully held thousands of big and small performances, including the concerts of many stars. Lu Chen's A Lifetime of Love national tour concert, the project application, venue rental, sound and dance, security, logistics, etc., were also outsourced to this company. Although Qinfei Media could handle many of the tasks themselves, it would cost a lot of manpower and material resources, and a lot of time. Outsourcing to a professional company was the most suitable choice. For example, if Qinfei Media bought the sound system at the concert site, it would cost at least tens of millions, and they would have to hire professionals to install, maintain it. Now, as long as they paid a rental fee, they did not have to think about it anymore. Although the rental fee was not cheap, it was still very cost-effective compared to buying it themselves. In another week, the Olympic sports would enter the actual venue layout, rehearsals, and so on. Today was the final review of the venue layout plan by Qinfei Media. Therefore, the main staff of Qinfei Media came. Everyone made up for the shortcomings and worked together to improve the plan. Originally, Lu Qin did not want Qinfei to come, but the latter insisted. According to Qinfei, she was not so delicate. She was just pregnant, and she had held many solo concerts. She had more experience in this area than anyone else. Although this was Lu Chen's concert, for her, it was more important than her own. As for the middle-aged man in charge of the presentation, he was the deputy general manager and engineer of the performance company. Just as he was talking enthusiastically, the door of the conference room was suddenly pushed open. An employee of Qinfei Media came in. She walked quickly to Lu Shi's side and leaned over to whisper a few words in Lu Shi's ear. Lu Shi's face changed. She got up and said, "Manager Wang, thank you for your explanation. Can you change the content to tomorrow?" The middle-aged man was not a fool. He quickly replied, "No problem, we will make an appointment tomorrow." Lu Shi smiled and said, "Thank you." After sending away the people of the performance company, Lu Shi came back and said to Lu Qin and Qinfei, something happened. Lu Qin held Qinfei's hand and asked in a deep voice, "What happened?" No matter what happened, first of all, he couldn't let the pregnant Qinfei worry about him. "It's not a big deal," Lu Shi frowned and said, "There's a little girl." Lu Qin listened quietly to Lu Shi's words, then asked, "Is she okay now?" "She should be fine," Lu Shi said. "I have to find out more about the specific situation." Lu Qin thought for a moment and said, "Which hospital is she in?" "I'll go there now." Lu Shi was surprised. "You're going there now?" Lu Qin nodded. "I should go and have a look. If this matter is known by the media, it will be troublesome. We should try to control it as much as possible." Qinfei supported him. "Yes, I'll go with you." Lu Shi said helplessly, "That's the only way. Sai, how could this happen? Children nowadays." Lu Qin smiled and said, "Look on the bright side. At least nothing serious happened and we got the news in advance. We were lucky to avoid being passive." Lu Shi shook her head. "Forget it. I'll get someone to prepare a car. I'll go and have a look too." Chapter 897. On the way to the hospital, Lu Qin, Qinfei and Lu Shi spent more than an hour gambling in the car. However, during this time, Lu Shi understood the cause and effect of the matter clearly through the relevant people. This matter was not big or small, but it fell on Lu Chen's head. It felt like he was shot while lying down. Although it was very depressed, he couldn't be indifferent. The cause of the incident was Lu Chen's first concert in Beijing next month. The key point was the tickets. A fan of Lu Chen, a teenage girl, was still a high school student. She couldn't get a ticket on the internet. In short, she was very sad. The tickets for this concert were too scarce. There were many people who didn't get them. She was just one of them. It wasn't a big deal. Then Lu Qin and the official V of Qinfei Media organized a ticket lottery. She participated in it, but she didn't have much luck and was disappointed again. As a result, it was a classmate who had a conflict with her who was lucky enough to get a ticket and proudly showed off to her. There was no lack of sarcasm and ridicule. The little girl loved face and was psychologically fragile. She couldn't think it through and cut her wrist. Fortunately, it was found by her family and sent to the hospital in time, so there was no tragedy. For such a case, the hospital arranged for a psychiatrist to provide counseling. Coincidentally, the younger brother of the psychiatrist worked in Qinfei Media, so they got the news as soon as possible. What the hell was going on? To be honest, after understanding the ins and outs of the matter, whether it was Lu Qin, Qin Fei, or Lu Shi, they were very speechless and didn't know what to say. They could only immediately rush to the hospital to see this irrational fan. Lu Shi originally didn't want Lu Qin and Qin Fei, to go there. She was afraid that it would have a bad influence. If the media knew about it, it would be very troublesome. The most troublesome thing was that if there were fans who followed suit, it would be terrible. It sounded a little unbelievable, but such a strange thing had happened. Who could guarantee that there would not be others who followed suit? Some fans were difficult to reason with. Lu Qin's fan circle was too big. It was normal for there to be a few weirdos. We can't blame her even if she goes, Qin Fei said with great experience. Teenage girls are in their rebellious phase. What they can't take the most is a lesson. Just guide them appropriately. Lu Qin and Lu Shi nodded. After all, the responsibility of educating children depended on their parents, family, and school. As the idol of their fans, it was most important for them to establish a healthy and sunny image. While they were talking, they arrived at the Third People's Hospital of Beijing. The group got out of the car in the parking lot. The psychologist in charge was already waiting there. The doctor's surname was Su. She was in her 30s and had a beautiful appearance. She was quite surprised to see the two big stars, Lu Qin and Qin Fei. She didn't expect that her phone call would summon the most famous couple in the entertainment circle. As a doctor, especially a psychiatrist, we shouldn't divulge any patient's information. Dr. Su took Lu Qin and the others to the hospital's special elevator. As they walked, she said to Lu Qin, "But this girl's situation is a little special. She had a big fight with her parents and now her mood is very unstable. So it's really great that you could come. Thank you." Her original intention was to buy a concert ticket through her brother. She wanted to solve the girl's depression first. After that, the effective psychological counseling would be much better. However, Lu Qin came directly and even brought Qin Fei with him, which made her feel very embarrassed. Lu Qin said, "We should say thank you to you about this?" He smiled bitterly. "I don't know what to say." Dr. Su couldn't help but laugh. "I understand very well. I look forward to a happy ending." Under her guidance, the three of them took the elevator to a single ward on the 12th floor of the inpatient department of the hospital. When they entered the ward, a delicate and pretty girl was lying on the bed with an intravenous drip. Her face was pale and she looked like she had nothing left to live for. Next to the bed sat a haggard middle-aged woman who was wiping away her tears. Hearing the door open, the two of them turned their heads at the same time. Dr. Su smiled at the girl and said, "Xiaoya, do you feel better? Someone is here to see you." Lu Qin took 2 steps forward, took off his sunglasses and smiled at her. "Xiaoya, hello." The girl named Xiaoya suddenly opened her eyes wide. Her face instantly turned red. She screamed and shrank into the bed, even covering her head with the blanket. Everyone was shocked by her reaction and could not help but look at each other. Dr. Su was indeed a psychologist. She probably understood the girl's feelings at the moment. She leaned over and gently held the girl's hand and said, "Lu Qin is here to see you. I know you are blaming yourself, but you don't want to let everyone down, right?" At this time, the middle-aged woman also recognized Lu Qin and Qin Fei. She was at a loss. She stood up and said, "I'm really sorry. I didn't expect, my child." Lu Shi quickly said, "It's okay. We are all very concerned about Xiaoya, so we came to disturb you." The middle-aged woman said repeatedly, "It's okay, it's okay. Thank you." As she spoke, her tears fell. Lu Shi held her hand and said, "You're welcome. This is what we should do." Xiaoya finally poked her head out from under the blanket. She bit her lip and said, "Brother Lu Qin, I'm sorry." "You didn't do me wrong." Lu Qin sat down on the edge of the bed and said softly, "You're sorry to your mother who cares about you and loves you the most. Promise me don't do such a stupid thing again, okay?" Xiaoya nodded obediently. "I know I'm wrong. I won't do it again." "That's good." Lu Qin smiled happily and said, "I'll give you a gift." As he spoke, he took out the tickets he had prepared from his pocket and put them on the bedside table. "Welcome to my concert next month." Xiaoya's tears rolled down her cheeks. She knew what a stupid thing she had done. Lu Qin said, "Then this matter will be a secret between us. No one will tell anyone, okay?" Xiaoya nodded hard. Lu Qin was still worried. "Let's pinky swear." Xiaoya smiled through her tears. "I'm not a child." Although she said that, she still quickly took out her left hand and pinky swear with Lu Qin. The atmosphere in the ward became relaxed. Even Xiaoya's mother showed a smile. Lu Qin didn't stay in the ward for too long. After satisfying this little fan's request for an autograph, he left with Chen Fei, and Lu Shi. Xiaoya's mother sent them all the way to the parking lot. On the way back to the company, Chen Fei said to Lu Qin, "When the child is born in the future, I want to educate him myself." Lu Qin couldn't help laughing. Chapter 898. Beijing Willow Alley. A very ordinary name, even a bit vulgar and rustic, but this is one of the most essential locations in the super metropolis of Beijing. You can reach the center of the city in 10 minutes after going out for a walk. The long alley is very clean, and the thick bluestone slabs laid on the ground are full of traces of time. On both sides are Sihiyuan with white walls and black tiles, each with its own story. It was Lu Chen's first time to come here. He and Chen Fei came to visit the Li family's old house as guests. The one who invited him was the old man of the Li family, Li Mubai and Li Mushi's grandfather. Lu Qin and Li Mubai are very good friends. Not only do they have a good personal friendship with Li Mushi, but they also have a deep interest alliance. The leading figure of the younger generation of the Li family, the two's eldest brother, Li Murong, also appreciates Lu Qin quite a lot. It is precisely because of the friendship with the younger generation of the Li family that Lu Qin and Chen Fei media have been developing smoothly in recent years. Although they have occasionally encountered some trouble, it has not affected anything. It can be said that the Li family is a big tree behind Lu Qin, sheltering him from a lot of wind, frost, rain and snow. However, this is the first time that Lu Qin has been summoned by the Li family's old man. Others say that living in Sihiyuan is comfortable. Li Mubai, who accompanied Lu Qin to the old house, said, "I feel very uncomfortable living here. I'm scolded by the old man every day. I reckon that I'll be scolded again when I come back this time." Lu Qin smiled. He still has a good understanding of the Li family's situation. He knows that the Li family's old man retired many years ago, but his influence is still great. Now the real master of the Li family is Li Mubai's father, and his successor is Li Murong. Li Murong is developing in politics, and Li Mushi is mixing in the business circle. The two are playing very well in their respective fields. As for Li Mubai, he is a standard playful playboy. But to be friends with him is the simplest and easiest. While talking, they arrived at the Li family's old house. Knocking on the heavy door and entering the mansion with more than 100 years of history, Lu Qin and Chen Fei met the Li family's old man and the Li family's grandmother in the front yard. Here, the lively Li Mubai immediately became a good grandson. "Grandpa, Grandma?" The old man is in his 70s or 80s and his hair is basically all white, but his face is ruddy and his appearance is dignified. He looks very energetic. He sat upright on the armchair and replied with an indifferent, His eyes were filled with dignity. On the other hand, Grandma Li was very kind and amiable. She smiled and said, "Little White, where have you been playing recently? Why didn't you come to visit your grandparents? Look at your grandfather, he's angry." Li Mubai shrunk his head and said, Grandpa, Grandma, this is my friend Lu Qin." Li Chen. He has Li. Lu Qin hurriedly stepped forward and saluted politely. "Hello, Grandpa Li, Grandma Li." Li family's old man finally showed a smile and nodded. Lu Qin also introduced Chen Fei to the two elders. "This is my wife, Chen Fei." Chen Fei was much more direct than Lu Qin. "Hello, Grandpa, Grandma. I wish you a long life." Li family's grandmother's eyes lit up. "What a handsome child. Come, let Grandma take a closer look." Chen Fei stepped forward obediently, let Li family's grandmother hold his hand and sat down beside her. Li family's grandmother smiled and said to Lu Qin, "You are so lucky to have such a beautiful wife. You must know how to cherish it. Spend more time with your wife when you have time. Don't neglect your family because you work and make money." The old woman's words were very reasonable, and Lu Qin accepted it modestly. The more Li family's grandmother looked at Chen Fei, the more she liked her. She took off a jade bracelet worn on her wrist and stuffed it into Chen Fei's hand. She said, "This is the first time we meet and I don't have any good gifts. This bracelet is an old object and it's worth some money. Take it." Chen Fei was taken aback. She knew how precious this emerald bracelet was. "Grandma, it's too expensive." Li family's grandmother was unhappy. "It's just a plaything. It's not expensive. If you really want to talk about expensive, isn't the thing you asked Xiaoshi to send valuable?" Li Mushi contacted Old Man Li to make an appointment with Lu Qin. In order to show respect to Old Man Li, Lu Qin asked Li Mushi to provide a suggestion and bought a June Kiln official porcelain from the Song dynasty as a gift, which cost more than 10 million yuan. This June kiln porcelain was sent to the old house in advance by Li Mushi. Lu Qin and Qin Fei also came to visit. The gift was accepted, but the old man obviously didn't want to take advantage of them, so Li family's grandmother gave a bracelet to Qin Fei. But more importantly, she really liked Qin Fei. Thank you, Grandma. Since the words had been spoken, Qin Fei had to accept it and put it on his wrist on the spot. Li family's grandmother was very happy. Yes, this bracelet is very suitable for you. It's very beautiful. Here, the old man motioned for Lu Qin to sit down and said to him, "This time I asked you to come here for no other reason. I just heard Mushi talking about you all day, so I wanted to meet you, young man." Lu Qin listened respectfully. The old man continued, "I know a little about what you and Mushi have done in the past few years. I don't know anything about music and movies. The online crowdfunding you guys are doing is not bad. It's also a skill to be listed in the United States and earn money from Americans. Recently, the bike sharing that Mushi is doing is very good. I heard that it is also from your plan. This project can well solve the actual needs of the people and has positive and good social significance." While he was talking at length, Grandma Li was unhappy again. "Old man, you invited him over as a guest, not for a class or a meeting. Do you think you still need to worry about national affairs?" The old man stared at his wife awkwardly. Lu Qin laughed in his heart. He found that in fact, the two elders of the Li family were not much different from ordinary old people. He quickly smoothed things over. "Grandpa Li said it very well. I have a lot to learn from Grandpa Li." "Grandpa, Grandma, what are you talking about?" At this time, Li Mushi came out and asked curiously. Lu Qin smiled and said, "I'm talking to Grandpa Li about bike sharing." When they came out of the Li family's old house, it was already dark. Lu Qin did not let Li Mubai send him. He took Qin Fei for a walk all the way back. There was a car waiting outside. He took Qin Fei's hand and said, "Let's go home too." "Okay." Qin Fei nodded. In a week it would be the new year. Chapter 899. Lu Qin and Qin Fei appear at the Third People's Hospital, accompanied by Lu Qin's sister, Lu Shi. Qin Fei is suspected to be pregnant, accompanied by Lu Qin and his brother at the hospital. "See a doctor? Pregnant?" Lu Qin and Qin Fei's good news is approaching? On the second day after Lu Qin and Qin Fei visited the Li family, EasyNet Entertainment suddenly broke the news. They posted photos of the two in the parking lot of the People's Hospital a few days ago in the entertainment section, and put forward all kinds of speculations. A large number of media outlets reprinted the news, adding all kinds of embellishments. The technical level of these photos was very poor. Obviously, they were not professional photography equipment, nor were they taken by professional paparazzi. In all likelihood, they were taken by passers-by who happened to run into them and secretly took photos with their mobile phones. Although Lu Qin and Qin Fei were wearing sunglasses in the photos, fans who were familiar with the two could recognize them at a glance. Coupled with the fact that they were accompanied by Lu Shi, there was absolutely no reason for them to be wrong. This time the media was very lively, especially on the Waves blog. All kinds of unreliable gossip spread everywhere, and a large number of accounts claiming to be doctors, nurses and cleaners of the People's Hospital, or the classmates, friends and neighbors of the doctors, nurses, and cleaners came out to expose that they had seen Lu Qin accompanying Qin Fei into the obstetrics and gynecology department. Countless fans ran to the blogs of Lu Qin and Qin Fei to ask if the two were really going to have a baby. "Is it true? Oh my God, I'm going to be a father in the morning? Poor me, I'm still single. Single plus one, I hope to be single in 2019. Have you thought of a name for the baby? I think it should be the happiest baby in the world. The parents are so good looking and they are both big stars. I hope it's a girl." Of course, Lu Qin quickly saw the relevant news. He simply did not know whether to laugh or cry. "What the hell is this? What do you mean by a lucky shot? This was a lucky hit. The media must be making wild guesses to attract attention. It was all for click-through. It was normal for them to fabricate news to please the public. Moreover, there were photos as proof. However, they did not know the truth of the matter, but they guessed another truth, which was that Qin Fei was really pregnant. Currently, only a few people knew about Qin Fei's pregnancy, including Lu Qin, Lu Shi and Qin Fei's assistant, as well as the doctor from the private hospital who went to check on the pregnancy. It was kept strictly confidential for the time being. Who would have thought that the incident of a small fan cutting her wrist would lead to the possibility of the truth of this very private matter being exposed? After discussing it with Qin Fei and Lu Shi, Lu Qin updated his blog, stating that he and Qin Feier had gone to the hospital to visit the patient, not to accompany her for a pregnancy checkup as the media had speculated. He also thanked everyone for their concern. Such a statement was actually avoiding the important and dwelling on the trivial, but many fans thought that it was refuting the rumors, and the hype immediately subsided a lot. However, there were many people who were misled. Feier is really pregnant? On January 29th, just after the Lunar New Year, Lu Qin took Qin Feier back to his hometown in Binhai with his sister, Lu Shi. As soon as they got home, his mother, Fang Yun, pulled Lu Qin and asked with concern. Lu Qin smiled bitterly. Qin Feier's pretty face was red. Lu Shi looked at her brother gloatingly, and Lu Shui hid next to the sofa and eavesdropped. "What's with your expression?" Fang Yun said discontentedly. "Is what they said true? Someone showed me the news. The three of you were photographed in the hospital, and they said that Feier went for a pregnancy checkup?" Of course, his mother was very unhappy. Her daughter-in-law's pregnancy was actually told to her by others, and it was from the media. It was simply unfilial. Lu Qin had to explain, "Mom, it's not like that." He simply told the truth of the incident to Fang Yun. After hearing it, Fang Yun was very disappointed. "So that's how it is?" Lu Qin looked at Qin Feier, coughed twice awkwardly and said, "But one thing is true. Feier is pregnant, and I wanted to tell you this time when I came back." This new year, Lu Qin and Qin Feier cancelled all their performances and went back to Binhai for the new year. One of the important reasons was that Qin Feier was pregnant. "Really?" Fang Yun suddenly opened her eyes wide. "Don't lie to me. How long has it been?" Qin Feier said shyly, "Auntie, it's true. It's been almost 2 months. You child." Fang Yun glared at Lu Qin fiercely, then immediately took Qin Feier's hand and said very gently, "Why didn't you tell me such a big thing earlier?" Qin Feier explained, "Lu Qin said it was better to tell you this in person." Fang Yun asked, "When are you going to get married? You can't just give birth to the child like this, can you?" She loved Qin Feier as her own daughter, and the degree of her care was even more than that of her 2 daughters. Naturally, she didn't want Qin Feier to be wronged and carry on the Lu family's ancestral line without a title. Lu Qin quickly said, "We plan to register after the new year after my concert, and then you will decide the date of the wedding. The wedding will be held in the Maldives and Binhai." He and Qin Feier had already discussed it. The wedding in the Maldives was mainly for friends in the circle, and the wedding in Binhai was for relatives and classmates, so that all aspects could be taken care of. The wedding in the Maldives Island of Love was already in the pre-preparation stage. When the time was finalized here, they could basically make invitations and then distribute them to the world. Getting married and having a child were the 2 most important things in Lu Chen's life, and they could be completed this year. Fang Yun said in a hurry, "Well, I'll look through the almanac to see which day is more suitable. We have to be as fast as possible, or it will be easy to see when we are 4 or 5 months old." In fact, according to the customs of Binhai, the man's family and the woman's family had to hold a wedding separately. However, Qin Feier's situation was a little special. She left home very early and had a very indifferent relationship with her family. Fang Yun knew this, so she didn't mention it. His mother ran upstairs to look for the almanac, and Lu Shui finally found the opportunity to run over. She pulled Qin Feier and asked with a face full of surprise, "Sister-in-law, I'm going to be an aunt? Is it a boy or a girl?" Lu Shi knocked her head and said, "Don't make trouble. How can we tell if it's a boy or a girl now?" Lu Shui covered her head and complained, "Sister, don't knock my head. I've been knocked silly by you. Are you going to support me in the future?" Lu Qin smiled and pulled Qin Feier to sit down on the sofa. She held hands with the person she loved and listened to her sister scolding her sister. She only felt that her heart was full of happiness. At this point in life, there was really nothing more to ask for. Chapter 900. The sound of firecrackers said goodbye to the old year, and in the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve again. This year's New Year's Eve was undoubtedly a happy one for the Lu family. Lu Qin, Qin Feier, and Lu Shi all rushed back from the capital to celebrate the new year together. Qin Feier was pregnant, so it was a real reunion. They didn't eat out for the New Year's Eve dinner. Fang Yun personally cooked a table full of delicious dishes. Qin Feier and Lu Shi helped in the kitchen, while Lu Qin and Lu Shui were in charge of eating and drinking. The most important thing was for the family to be happy. Before eating, Lu Shi poured a glass of wine. She raised her glass and said, "Come, let's have a toast as a family. I wish everyone happiness and safety in the coming year." Lu Qin and Qin Feier looked at each other and smiled. They also raised their glasses, but Qin Feier drank fruit juice because she was pregnant. Everyone toasted together and then started eating. After eating a few dishes, Qin Fei also raised her glass, but she raised it to Fang Yun. Annie, you've worked hard. I propose a toast to you. I wish you good health and happiness. Lu Shui, who wanted to see the world in chaos, shouted, You're still calling her auntie? You should change the way you address her, right? Qin Fei's pretty face turned red, but she still said gracefully, Yes, Mom, I propose a toast to you. The word Mom made Fang Yun cry. She wiped the corners of her eyes, smiled, and clinked glasses with Qin Fei. She said, You've worked hard too. Lu Chen has a lot of problems. After the two of you get married, you'll have to take care of him. Lu Chen smiled bitterly. Mom said it as if he had not grown up yet. Perhaps in the eyes of a mother, her children would never grow up and need to be taken care of. Qin Fei nodded and glanced at Lu Chen proudly, as if she had grasped an imperial sword. Fang Yun said to Lu Shi, Now that your brother is going to get married, you should think about your own marriage. You can't stay single all the time, can you? After Lu Chen made his debut, he set up a foundation in the capital and opened his own studio. He invited Lu Shi from Binhai, and now she was at the helm of Qin Fei Media. In the past few years, without his sister's conscientious hard work, Lu Chen's development would not have been so smooth. Lu Shi not only has to worry about his work in his main business, but also is responsible for supervising the affairs of companies such as online crowdfunding, happy entertainment, and so on. In order to safeguard Lu Chen's interests, she has racked her brains. And Lu Shi paid a lot of price for this. She now basically works more than 10 hours a day. She is often so busy that she doesn't even have time to eat. She usually doesn't have much time to take a break, let alone solve life's major events. In fact, in the past few years, it's not that no one has pursued Lu Shi. Although Lu Shi is not very beautiful, her appearance is above the qualified line, and her career is flourishing. But Lu Shi has never been interested in those pursuers. When others send flowers, she doesn't even look at them and asks her assistant to throw them into the trash can. According to her sister, 99% of these pursuers have evil intentions, and she doesn't have the time and energy to screen out the rest, so she shoots them all. It's just that after wasting time like this, her sister, who is over 30 years old, is still single. Fang Yun can be considered a very open-minded mother. On the issue of marriage, she has never forced her children. Whether it is Lu Chen or Lu Shi, she let them make their own decisions. However, as a mother, she can't ignore Lu Shi's personal problems. So when everyone is eating together for the New Year's Eve dinner, it is also to appropriately add a little pressure to Lu Shi. In this regard, Lu Shi just curled her lips and said, If you haven't met the right one, when you meet the right one you will get married. Anyway, Fei has a baby now, you can rest assured and be a grandmother. Fang Yun glared at her eldest daughter and said, Forget it anyway, it's good that you know in your heart. By the way, I plan to resign after the new year and go to the capital to take care of Fei. Everyone was shocked, especially Lu Chen and Lucy were even more surprised. In the past, the two had always hoped that their mother could live in the capital so that it would be easy for everyone to reunite. In the future, when Lu Shui graduated from college and worked in Qin Fei Media, the family could all be together. However, Fang Yun has never agreed. She is used to life in Binhai, and she doesn't want to go to the capital to disturb Lu Chen and Qin Fei. She didn't expect that her mother would take the initiative to move to the capital. Lu Chen said with a smile, That's great. Fang Yun said, I want to take care of Fei. Although you are not short of money to hire a nanny, it is not as safe to hire someone to take care of her. In addition, when Fei is pregnant, she needs someone to accompany her. Qin Fei was moved. Thank you, Mom. Fang Yun said, We are family, there is no need to thank me. Lu Shui, who was sitting next to her, stuck out her tongue and said, Then when you all go to the capital, won't I be lonely here alone? What if I miss my mom? Lu Shi said, That's simple. I also know a lot of people in the capital. I will ask someone to transfer your school registration to the capital, and you can study in the capital. Lu Shui immediately revealed her true nature. Oh, forget it. I will stay here. At worst, I will go to the capital during the winter and summer holidays. She was reluctant to let her college friend, whom she was already familiar with, go to the capital to adapt again. Everyone laughed. After the New Year's Eve, the past year was really over. At about 12 o'clock in the evening, Lu Chen and Qin Fei posted new blog posts on their respective blogs, wishing all their fans a happy new year and family reunion. Of course, the two also received countless blessings. The next day was the first day of the new year. The family did not visit their relatives, but all took a plane to Dengfeng City. Of course, they would go to the Shaolin Temple on Mount Song, which was proposed by Fang Yun, mainly to pray for blessings and peace. Originally they used to go to the local temple, but Lu Shui was very interested in the Shaolin Temple, so they decided to go there. Nowadays the Shaolin Temple was already famous all over the world. With the investment of Qinfei Media and the success of The Smiling, Proud Wanderer, the 1,000-year-old temple had been rejuvenated and restored the momentum of the Zen jungle. The Shaolin Temple was also very welcome for the arrival of the big financial backer. Not only did the abbot personally receive them, but he also accompanied Lu Qin and his family to visit the temple, and also visited the newly built Shaolin Martial Arts Academy. Lu Qin and his family stayed in Dengfeng for 2 days and returned to the capital together on the 4th day of the first lunar month. At this time there were only 6 days left before Lu Qin's first solo concert in the capital, so he did not have much free time. He immediately threw himself into the final rehearsal of the concert. Because of the special significance, Fang Yun and Lu Shui would watch the concert together, and Lu Qin also reserved the best tickets for them. Chapter 901. On the 3rd day of the first lunar month, Mercedes-Benz Center. Tonight, in this top luxury car exhibition hall in the capital, a grand event was about to begin. In the VIP room, Lu Qin and several people were sitting opposite each other. The other 3 were all senior executives of Whale TV, including the chairman, CEO, and operations director of Whale TV. Among them, Whale TV CEO Wu Hongming could be considered an old friend of Lu Qin. Before Lu Qin officially debuted, he was discovered by Wu Hongming's niece Wu Shanshan. Wu Hongming, who was in charge at the time, gave Lu Qin a very good contract and began a 4-year cooperation between the two sides. Over the past 4 years, Wu Hongming and Lu Qin had always been in close contact, and he also relied on his cooperative relationship with Lu Qin to become the CEO of Whale TV. However, on the 1st of last month, Lu Qin's contract with Whale TV expired and was not renewed. Although the contract was over, the relationship between the two sides was still very good. Therefore, tonight, Lu Qin personally attended Whale TV's New Year's Star Anchor celebration, which could be regarded as an official farewell. Also tonight, he will appear in his personal anchor room for the last time to say goodbye to thousands of fans. Of course, this does not mean that Lu Qin will not appear in Whale TV in the future, but it will definitely be in another form, such as a guest or something. Wu Hongming poured a cup of tea for Lu Qin and said with emotion, "The luckiest thing for me in Whale TV is that we signed you. If God gives me a chance to start over, then I want to sign a 10-year contract with you and give you some of the company's shares. It's worth it." Everyone laughed, including Lu Qin. Of course, Wu Hongming was joking. Not to mention that Whale TV couldn't give such a contract at that time. It was also impossible for Lu Qin to sign such a contract. But now, if there was such a chance and if Lu Qin was willing, then Whale TV would definitely agree and even be very happy. Today's Whale TV has long returned to its original glory and even surpassed it. At present, it was the largest online live broadcasting platform in the country, with a large number of excellent star anchors and a rising market value. And the re-emergence of Whale TV has a lot to do with Lu Qin. It is precisely because of Lu Qin's famous signboard that Whale TV can attract countless audiences and a large number of talents, especially many newcomers in the entertainment circle who regard Whale TV as the best online platform to attract fans. However, all good things must come to an end. Lu Qin has signed 4 contracts with Whale TV. It can be said that he is extremely benevolent and is very nostalgic. His current net worth is higher than the market value of Whale TV. Of course, he can't continue to hang the name of an anchor on Whale TV, and he even has to give up being a spokesperson. A small temple can't accommodate a great god, and Whale TV certainly understands this truth. Both sides met and parted on good terms. Although the contract will not be renewed, the friendship is still there, and there is a foundation for future cooperation. Boss Wu still loves to joke. Lu Qin said with a smile. He looked at his watch, stood up and said, "It's about time, let's go out." Wu Hongming and the others immediately stood up and accompanied Lu Qin out of the VIP room like stars surrounding the moon. At this moment, the main hall of the Mercedes-Benz Center is already very lively. Hundreds of fans, anchors, and special guests have gathered together. On the brightly lit stage, several beautiful girls are performing vigorous songs and dances, constantly bringing up the atmosphere of the audience. Multiple cameras are pointed in different directions, and the scene is transmitted in real time to the exclusive live broadcast room of Whale TV, as well as to Lu Qin's personal live broadcast room. In fact, at this time, Lu Qin's fans already know that he will no longer sign a contract with Whale TV, And they also know that tonight is Lu Chen's farewell performance in Whale TV, so countless fans specially came to watch, including many people who no longer play live broadcast. At 8 o'clock in the evening, the number of viewers in Lu Chen's live broadcast room broke through the 5 million mark. This is not fake data but real popularity. Many of them are hardcore fans of Lu Chen in the early years of Whale TV. Although everyone knows that this day will eventually come, they still feel regret and reluctance as well as nostalgia and memories. In the blink of an eye, it's been more than 4 years, I really can't bear to leave. Yeah, I still have the video of Lu Chen's first live broadcast in my hard drive. Can you not leave? Even if it's only once a year. I like the me singing in front of the computer with a guitar. It's really not easy. Lu Chen has not yet appeared on the stage, and the live broadcast room has already been the main theme of nostalgia and memories. There are also local Tyrant fans throwing props, such as aircraft carriers, interstellar battleships, and many fans have cleared all the fish balls in their accounts. To be continued. Although these rewards are undoubtedly a drop in the bucket for the current Lu Chen, everyone is just using this way to remember the good times. Next, let's welcome tonight's special guest. On the stage of Mercedes-Benz Center, the host announced in an impassioned tone, Mr. Lu Chen. Warm applause suddenly exploded in the hall, and everyone's eyes were focused on Lu Chen, who had just appeared, making him the unparalleled focus of the audience. Sitting in the audience, there are hundreds of well-known anchors of Whale TV. Many of them are very popular, and some are star artists in the entertainment industry. However, in front of Lu Chen they are basically no different from ordinary fans. Thank you everyone. Lu Chen took the microphone handed over by the host and said with a smile, I'm very happy to be able to participate in the New Year celebration of Whale TV star anchors tonight, because I used to be one of you. While the applause that had just subsided sounded again louder, Lu Chen waited for a moment and continued, to be honest, I also miss the time when I played and sang for everyone in the live broadcast room. I was very happy and there were so many friends and fans who supported me. Here I want to say to all my friends, thank you. Without you there would be no me today. I wish everyone happiness and health forever and happiness. In the thunderous applause, he nodded to the assistant on the sidelines who quickly brought the guitar. Holding the rosewood guitar that has become his symbol, Lu Chen sat down and faced the audience and cameras. He plucked the strings and smiled, a song blessing, for everyone. Friend, I will always bless you. Friend, I will always bless you. Ah, friend, I will always bless you. The background harmony sounded quietly, lingering in everyone's ears. Don't ask, don't say, everything is said without words. At this moment, nestled in the candlelight, let us spend it quietly. Don't wave, don't look back when I sing this song. I'm only afraid that tears will fall softly. May my smile always remain in your heart, and accompany you through every spring, summer, autumn and winter. How many worries, how many worries. Whether it was at the scene or in the live broadcast room of millions of people, all the noise disappeared completely. Only the song of Lu Chen's playing and singing echoed, stirring people's hearts. It was as if time had frozen at this moment forever. Note, blessing composer, Guizi/lyrics, Ding Xiaowen. Chapter 902. Ding Dong. Hello, dear passengers, this train is about to arrive at Beijing Station. Please get ready in advance. The voice that came from the train's broadcast system woke Su Kai up from his sleep. He immediately turned over and sat up, took out his mobile phone under his pillow and looked at it. It was already 7:27 in the morning. They had arrived at Beijing. Honey, get up. Putting on his coat, Su Kai pushed his girlfriend who was sleeping on the soft sleeper opposite him and said, We're about to get off. Kuyao rubbed her sleepy eyes, raised her head and asked in a daze, We've arrived at Beijing? Su Kai smiled and said, Yes. His mood was inexplicably excited. He reached out to wipe the foggy window and saw the high-rise buildings flashing by outside the window. Beijing, here I come. Su Kai and his girlfriend boarded the high-speed rail to Beijing at 9 o'clock last night. After a 10.5-hour journey, they finally arrived at the city he had been longing for a long time. This time, Su Kai deliberately asked for a few days off from the company and brought his girlfriend to Beijing for 3 main purposes. First of all, of course, it was to fulfill one of his past wishes, which was to go to Beijing to play, visit the Forbidden City, climb the Great Wall, and enjoy the scenery and beauty of the capital of the motherland. Second, it was to bring his girlfriend to celebrate a special Valentine's Day. Tomorrow was Valentine's Day in 2019. Although the two had spent several Valentine's days together after falling in love with Ku Yao, the previous Valentine's days were just the usual routine of eating and watching movies. There was nothing new and not very romantic. This time Su Kai was making up to Ku Yao. The last and most important purpose was to attend Lu Chen's A Lifetime of Love concert that would be held at the Beijing Olympic Sports Center tomorrow night. This was also Lu Chen's first solo concert. Ku Yao was a fan of Lu Chen. This concert was of great significance. The tickets sold online were sold out in a few seconds, and those who could get one were considered lucky. As for Su Kai, he did not rely entirely on luck to be able to buy the tickets, and two of them at that. He had anticipated the possibility of the tickets selling like hotcakes, so he wrote a small program to buy the tickets and hung it on the company's computer to buy the tickets. Relying on the company's network speed of up to 1000 m, he finally got what he wanted. In fact, Deep Sea was one of the stops on Lu Chen's nationwide tour, but the significance of the first show and the branch shows were very different. In addition, it happened to be a special day like Valentine's Day, so the Beijing Olympic Sports Stadium was Su Kai's first choice. If he didn't get a ticket, he would consider continuing to fight for tickets for the Deep Sea station. After getting the tickets, Ku Yao was very happy and gave him a lot of sweet rewards. Although the ticket and hotel fees for this concert in Beijing were not cheap, Su Kai felt that it was completely worth it. Furthermore, he had prepared a special Valentine's Day gift for Ku Yao. Su Kai touched the small square box in his pocket and smiled. "What are you laughing at?" Ku Yao, who had just woken up, pushed her boyfriend and said with a disgusted expression, "Why are you smiling so lewdly?" Su Kai grinned and said, "It's nothing." "It's so weird." Ku Yao was skeptical and pushed him again. "Hurry up and pack your luggage." The two of them had just finished packing their luggage when the high-speed train stopped at the Beijing station. They got out of the car and took a taxi to the hotel they had booked. At the pickup point of the taxi, Su Kai and Ku Yao waited in line for more than an hour before it was their turn, because there were too many passengers waiting in line. However, this did not diminish the excitement and enthusiasm of the two of them. This was Ku Yao's second time in Beijing. The last time she came to Beijing, she was still very young and was brought up by her family. She did not leave much of an impression. Now that she was spending Valentine's Day with her boyfriend, the feeling was completely different and fresh enough. The taxi drove forward for a few hundred meters and the middle-aged driver asked, "Where are you going?" Su Kai replied, "Sir, please take us to the 5-Ring Hotel, the one next to the Olympic Sports Center." "I know." The driver smiled and said, "Are you here to watch Lu Chen's concert?" Su Kai and Ku Yao were both shocked and asked in unison, "How did you know?" This middle-aged driver was simply prophetic. Could it be that a taxi driver in Beijing had to learn fortune-telling? The middle-aged driver laughed and said, "I guessed it. Yesterday I took 3 trips to the Olympic Sports Center. 1 trip to the 5-Ring Hotel where you are staying, and 2 trips to the Thousand Leaves Hotel. They are all from other places who came to watch the concert. So that's how it is." Su Kai and Ku Yao suddenly realized that this was really a coincidence. The middle-aged driver asked again, "Your hotel has been booked, right? If you haven't, there will definitely be no rooms left now. They have all been booked." Su Kai smiled and said, "I booked it a long time ago." "That's good." The driver was actually a little disappointed, but he immediately changed the topic. "There are so many people coming to watch Lu Chen's concert this time. Many of them are from other places. Actually, I also like Lu Chen's songs such as I Love You China." As he spoke, he directly sang, "I love you China, I love you China, I love you vigorous seedlings in spring, I love you golden fruits in autumn, I love you green pine temperament, I love you red plum character." The middle-aged driver was fat and strong. Not only was he eloquent, but he also sang very well. Not only did he sing "I Love You China" perfectly, but his voice was also very powerful and accurate. This was also a major feature of Beijing taxis. Most of the drivers were very good at speaking. Many of them had no problem doing crosstalk. All kinds of jokes would jump out one after another. It was not rare for them to be able to sing. After singing a section, Ku Yao immediately applauded. Su Kai gave him a thumbs up and praised, "That's amazing, master." The middle-aged driver beamed with joy. He touched his head and said with a smile, "My singing is actually average. The main thing is that the song is good. The song is really well written. I have listened to it hundreds of times. The more I listen to it, the more interesting it becomes. My daughter is also a fan of Lu Chen. She is still a high school student. She has all of Lu Chen's records. She also wanted to watch this concert, but she didn't manage to get a ticket. Haha, it saved me a lot of money. It was the morning rush hour and the taxi was not unexpectedly stuck on the way to the hotel. However, Su Kai and Ku Yao did not find it difficult because they could talk about Lu Chen and his songs with the chatty middle-aged driver. Finally, when they arrived at the hotel and bid farewell to the middle-aged driver, the two of them still felt that they had not finished talking. And just this morning, there were many people like Su Kai and Ku Yao who had come to Beijing to watch Lu Chen's first concert. They had gathered in Beijing from different places just to participate in this music feast that could not be missed. Chapter 903. February 14th, Valentine's Day, Beijing Olympic Sports Center. Starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, traffic control was implemented on the roads around the Olympic Sports Center. Many traffic police appeared on the often congested sections, directing the traffic to pass in an orderly manner, and conducting safety checks on some vehicles. Under normal circumstances, such a situation means that the Olympic Sports Center is about to hold a major international competition, and the security measures inside and outside the center and around the venue will be upgraded a lot. But there is no competition in the Olympic Sports Center tonight, but Lu Chen's first solo concert will be held. Because of the large number of people who came to watch, Xinfei Media applied to the relevant departments in advance and got approval and assistance. When night slowly fell, the large square in front of the Olympic Sports Center was already crowded with people. The fountain in the square spewed out columns of water, reflecting colorful light under the illumination of the night lights. A huge advertising curtain with an area of more than 1,000 square meters fell from the top of the circular arc of the central venue. In the picture, Lu Chen stood in front of the microphone with a guitar in his arms, with a faint smile on his face, and thousands of roses bloomed behind him. The three-dimensional title of Lu Chen's solo concert of Zhonghua Automobiles, A Lifetime of Love, was particularly eye-catching under the spotlights. As the leader of the domestic car industry, Zhonghua Automobile has always had a good relationship with Lu Chen, who is also the spokesperson of Zhonghua Automobile, with an endorsement contract signed until 2020. Although Lu Chen has earned astronomical remuneration for ordinary people through this endorsement contract, Zhonghua Automobile has also reaped double returns with the help of Lu Chen's healthy image and huge popularity. Therefore, they beat many competitors at all costs and won the naming right of Lu Chen's national concert tour. Although the naming fee has not been announced, there are rumors in the industry that it is more than 100 million yuan. This is really amazing. It should be known that Lu Chen's national tour has a total of 8 stops, including Beijing. On average, Zhonghua Automobile has to pay more than 10 million yuan for naming fees for each concert. Many first-tier and second-tier stars may not even have that much advertising fees in a year. But for Lu Chen's fans, it didn't matter who the title sponsor was. They didn't care about the title sponsorship fee. After waiting for 4 years, these mourning fans had finally waited for this moment. As for Lu Chen's first concert in Beijing, it also received the attention of various parties. Basically, all the major media outlets involved in the entertainment industry sent their reporters to interview and film the concert. Some of the media outlets even had quite a strong lineup. From the ticket gate in front of the stadium to the square, there were many reporters filming, and the place where most of the cameras were gathered was undoubtedly the VIP passage, which was heavily protected. Because tonight, more than half of the entertainment circle had come. According to the usual practice, when the tickets for tonight's concert were sold online, Xinfei Media held back some of the VIP tickets and gave them to their Partners and Friends Association units. There were almost 1,000 tickets in this part. Beijing Television, Zhidong Satellite TV, Hygiene Satellite TV, Shonan TV, Crown Pictures, Land Pictures, Flying Stone Records, QQ Music, Waves and so on, all have different numbers of tickets. In addition, Lu Chen's and Xinfei's friends in the circle also received free tickets. These tickets were extremely popular, especially in the entertainment circle in Beijing. Many star artists who got tickets showed off their shows on blogs, and there were also rumors that several small stars in a certain company had fallen out because of the distribution of free tickets. In fact, Lu Chen basically didn't know these star artists. At most, they had met and shook hands on certain occasions, or had a few polite conversations. But they were all proud to attend Lu Chen's concert as VIP guests. Someone deliberately counted on the Waves blog, and then counted many people who didn't show off their tickets but would definitely come to support. Finally, they came to the conclusion that at least half of the entertainment circle would be gathered at the Olympic Sports Center tonight. However, no one would be surprised or incredulous by this, because now Lu Chen was not only the most valuable and popular top star in the entertainment circle, but he also had the magic power to turn stone into gold. He was very influential in the circle. How many people wanted to take advantage of this hot spot? Therefore, a large number of media came to compete for the news. Starting from 6 o'clock, luxury cars with special passers-by stopped in front of the square. Star artists got out of the cars and entered the venue through the VIP passage. Although the concert in the evening was not a film or music award ceremony, and there was no red carpet or signature wall, the star-studded scene was no worse than any grand ceremony. It also attracted the paparazzi and entertainment reporters on both sides of the passage to go crazy, and the flashes went on and off one after another. Chen Guizhi came, Tan Hong came, Lu Gangxing came, Shifang also came, Liao Jia, Xu Jing, MSN Group, Little Tigers Group, the Bionics, North Needle Band, one big star after another, all of them were demonstrating Lu Chen's strong network. However, these friends of Lu Chen in the circle all declined the on-site reporters' interviews and directly entered the venue without stopping. The reporters had to turn their attention to other stars. Fan Chi, can I ask you 2 questions? Mr. Wang Jiqiang, did you come from Taiwan? Li Wei. Let's take a photo. These second and third tier star artists and singers were very good at giving face to the reporters. They either stopped in the passage to pose for photos, or walked to the side to talk to the interview microphone. I'm a fan of teacher Lu Chen. I've liked him since his first song. The artist who was being interviewed by EasyNet Entertainment reporters was Gan Inying, a film and television star who had recently debuted. She did not hide her love and admiration for Lu Chen. I'm very lucky to be able to come to the Olympic Stadium tonight to watch teacher Lu Chen's concert. I'm really happy. The reporter asked, if you meet Lu Chen later, what will you say to him? Gan Inying said with a smile, I will first ask teacher Lu Chen for an autograph, and then wish him a successful concert. The reporter asked again, anything else? If there is, she thought for a moment and said, I hope that one day I can cooperate with teacher Lu Chen once. Then I won't have any regrets. The same scene was playing out in different places in the VIP passage. Not far away, the 10 ticket checkpoints that were opened at the same time had long been lined up. Countless fans were holding tickets and identity cards, anxiously waiting to enter. Outside the venue there were many fans. Some of them didn't have tickets but they just came here to experience it. It was like a pilgrimage. Chapter 904. At 7:10 in the evening, in the VIP lounge of the Olympic Sports Center, it was like another world. The thick walls blocked all the noise from the outside world, making the room with fashionable decorations very quiet. On the black coffee table, there was an exquisite tea set, and the faint fragrance of tea wafted in the air. Lu Chen and Chen Fei snuggled up to each other on the soft sofa, quietly enjoying their time alone. Are you nervous? Chen Fei put her face on Lu Chen's shoulder and asked with a chuckle. My first solo concert. Lu Chen thought for a moment and replied, a little bit, not as nervous as I expected. It feels like I'm going to participate in an important ceremony to fulfill my wish. As he said this, he turned his head and kissed Chen Fei's face. Happy Valentine's Day. Where's the gift? Chen Fei asked impatiently, only a bouquet of flowers? This morning, Lu Chen gave her a bouquet of roses, and now the bouquet of flowers was placed in the lounge. Of course, Chen Fei didn't really care what gift Lu Chen gave her. A bouquet of flowers or a single flower, as long as it could represent the sincerity, was enough. She deliberately asked this question to attract the mood, and also to distract Lu Chen's attention and let him relax. In terms of holding a concert, Chen Fei's experience could beat Lu Chen's in seconds. Lu Chen said with a smile, of course not, but it's a secret for the time being. I'll give it to you later. Chen Fei rolled her eyes at him proudly and pulled out a long box from under the coffee table in front of her. This is my gift to you. I put more effort into it than you, right? Lu Chen was more or less surprised and immediately said with a smile, thank you, wife. The box was really big and it was wrapped in colored paper so it was not clear what was inside. Chen Fei said happily, open it and have a look. Lu Chen nodded and immediately tore open the wrapping paper. Inside was a guitar case. The golden emblem on the surface of the case didn't belong to any famous brand, but Lu Chen, who had a deep understanding of guitars, recognized it at a glance. It was the exclusive logo of the master luthier Prandello. Prandello was the best guitar maker in the world. It would take him a few months to half a year to make a guitar. If it was a custom-made one, it would take even longer. Prandello's handmade guitars were seen as treasures in the industry. Many big names in the music industry were proud to own one of his guitars, but it was not easy to order one. You couldn't buy one even if you had the money. Lu Chen didn't expect Qin Fei to give him a handmade guitar as a gift. He almost couldn't wait to open the guitar case. A velvet-wrapped guitar appeared in front of him. It was breathtakingly beautiful. Lu Chen had played with a Plandello guitar before, but compared to this one it was much worse. It was definitely a work of art that could make lovers go crazy. Qin Fei leaned against Lu Chen and said, "I ordered this the year before last. I just got it last month. Do you like it?" Lu Chen answered without hesitation, "I like it." Compared to the guitar, he liked Qin Fei's sincerity and care for him more. With a wife like this, what more could he ask for? Qin Fei smiled, "As long as you like it. Hurry up and try the sound." Lu Chen rubbed his hands. "I'm a bit reluctant to take it out." Many people bought Plandello's works for collection. Occasionally they would play with it carefully. Very few people actually played with it. But this actually went against the purpose of an instrument because an instrument was used to perform. Lu Chen took out the guitar and tried the feel and sound. Sure enough, it was impeccable. "Then I'm going to use this guitar to sing a song tonight? Ta-ta." Right at this moment, someone knocked on the door of the room. Lu Chen and Qin Fei looked at each other and smiled. Lu Chen put the guitar back in the case and said loudly, "Come in." One of his assistants opened the door but didn't come in. He stuck his head out and said, "Brother Chen, it's almost time." Lu Chen nodded, "Got it." When the assistant closed the door again, Qin Fei kissed Lu Chen gently and said, "Go ahead, I'll be here watching you. Perform well." Lu Chen opened his arms and hugged his girlfriend. Then he got up and left the lounge. His moment of glory was about to arrive. At this moment, in the main stadium of the Olympic Sports Center, more than 80,000 seats were full. Countless enthusiastic fans held up support sticks and fluorescent signs. The bright light was brighter than the stars in the sky. Tonight's concert officially started at 7:30. Now it was 7:25. The audience began to get excited. No one knew who started it, but the whole stadium was filled with cheers. Lu Chen. Lu Chen. Lu Chen. Everyone couldn't wait to see Lu Chen appear on stage. As time went by, the cheers didn't stop. Instead, they became louder and more enthusiastic. Lu Chen, those fans who liked Lu Chen seemed to want to vent the emotions they had been waiting for 4 years. At this time, it made the concert that hadn't officially started reach a climax. At 7:29, the lights on the stage suddenly dimmed, and the smoke machines around the stage released a large amount of dry ice-white fog. The giant LED screen that served as the background of the stage, as well as the 3 screens suspended in the air, showed the countdown at the same time. 20, 19, 18. The cheers of the audience turned into a countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7. 3, 2, 1. 0. The whole stadium suddenly became extremely quiet. Time seemed to freeze at this moment. Only the gentle strumming of the guitar quietly passed into everyone's ears. That was such a familiar melody. In the center of the stage, the lifting platform that had sunk below slowly rose and a spotlight suddenly fell. It shrouded Lu Chen. Lu Chen was wearing a pair of worn jeans and a t-shirt worth at most 20 to 30 yuan. He sat on a stool with a guitar in his arms, facing the microphone and camera with a faint smile. In his first solo concert, Lu Chen gave everyone a big surprise. His clothes were simple to the extreme. He didn't look like a billion-dollar superstar at all, but an unknown, drifting singer who struggled and worked hard at the bottom of society. Tian, that's right. Only those who were Lu Chen's first and most hardcore fans understood that Lu Chen's outfit was exactly what he looked like when he sang in the bar and on the live platform. As time went by, his original intention didn't change. No matter how the world changed, he was telling everyone. Lu Chen was still the same Lu Chen. And the song that touched countless people and was sung by countless people today. Chapter 905. Tomorrow, will you remember the diary you wrote yesterday? Tomorrow, will you still remember the you who loved to cry the most? The teachers can't remember. When the familiar voice sounded, countless fans were moved, especially those who loved folk songs. They couldn't help humming along. This song could almost represent an era in the music industry. Who married the sentimental you who read your diary, who tied up your long hair? You who sat next to me, was Lu Chen's famous work, a representative work of campus folk songs. This song was first sung by Lu Chen in Forget Grass Bar, and then appeared on the live broadcast platform. Many fans knew about Lu Chen through this song, got to know Lu Chen and fell in love with Lu Chen. In their hearts, Lu Chen would always be the young singer wearing jeans and a t-shirt, holding a rosewood guitar in his arms, playing and singing by himself, gentle and handsome, with the sunshine of the boy next door. Just like Lu Qin sitting on the stage at this moment. Time passed and nothing seemed to have changed. Those little bits of beautiful memories floated in people's hearts, making them cry unconsciously. You used to be very careful, asking me to borrow half an eraser, and you once accidentally said that you liked me. Some people had already shed tears for the lost youth, for the lost first love. Lu Qin's singing weakened, and the chorus of the audience was like a surging tide, one wave higher than the other. This was the most emotional opening. La la la. When Lu Qin finished humming the last line, the song reverberating in the main venue of the Olympic Sports Center turned into cheers and applause. Everyone clapped desperately. Other than that, there was no other way to express their inner feelings. Lu Qin put down the guitar, which was given to him by Lu Shui for his 18th birthday. It accompanied his college career, accompanied him to Beijing, and accompanied him to fame. In the eyes of fans, this guitar was inseparable from Lu Qin. Thank you. Lu Qin took down the microphone and stood up. Facing the tens of thousands of audience, he said, "Thank you for accompanying me to sing this song, you who sat next to me. In the blink of an eye, 4 years have passed and we have all grown up. No matter how much regret you have, no matter how helpless you feel, please remember that I will always be with you." The next song is Lost Years. The applause started but quickly subsided, because no one wanted to miss a single second of Lu Qin's singing. It was still his solo performance and it was still the same nostalgic ballad that touched the heartstrings, but for Lu Qin's fans, it was the sound of their hearts that they would never get tired of. Flowers with snow falling in the wind, germinate in our memories. Those red and green colors are our youth. Our ambitions are limitless, but in the blink of an eye, we have already gone our separate ways. Walking alone on the street, I can only see the sunset. Time is like flowing water, urging us to grow up. Our young hearts have turned white. It was as if he was not in a stadium with 80,000 people, as if he was not sitting on a huge stage, as if there were not so many lights and cameras around. It was as if Lu Qin was in the Forget Grass bar, sitting in front of the live microphone and camera. He was concentrating on playing the guitar, singing his own song and telling his own story. Those past stories, the lost youth. Many people were moved when they heard the previous song, You Who Sat Next to Me, but when they heard the song Lost Years, which was far less popular, they unknowingly shed tears. Because what Lu Qin was singing was also their story. In the front row of the audience, Qin Jinhao and Sister Na were holding hands, and their hearts were very emotional. Qin Jinhao and Sister Na were no longer young. They had experienced countless ups and downs, so naturally, they would not be easily moved by anything. But looking at Lu Qin, who was playing and singing on the stage, the two could not help but recall the past related to him. Lu Qin, who had just come to the Forget Grass bar to work, had never shown his talent in music. Qin Jinhao was willing to take him in mainly because of his outstanding appearance, which could attract some drinkers. If this reason was said now, it would definitely make countless people laugh their teeth off. But at that time, how could Qin Jinhao have thought that in just a few years, Lu Qin would stand in a position that everyone looked up to? Now Qin Jinhao was extremely glad that he had made this friendship with Lu Qin, which allowed him to get a lot. For example, sitting by his side, he needed to protect and respect his wife for a lifetime. At this moment, Sister Na's heart was full of pride. She was proud of Lu Qin and she was also proud of Lu Qin. She would not tell others that she had once patted Lu Qin's shoulder and praised him for singing well. She had also helped Lu Qin resist the jealousy of other bar singers. She had also secretly stuffed a few hundred yuan into Lu Qin's pocket. She would also not tell others that she had always regarded Lu Qin as her own brother, the kind that was very close. Now this brother was no longer the slightly immature young man. He had already spread his wings and soared into the sky. But in Sister Na's heart, Lu Qin would always be the little singer who was nervous and trembling when he first appeared on the stage. She gave her blessings for Lu Qin, her sincere blessings. The people of the past, where are you now? Are you also looking for the home of your dreams? On a fixed position on the upper right side of the stage, a high-definition digital camera's lens was always aimed at Lu Qin. The picture it shot was not like other cameras, which would be constantly cut to the big screen by the director. The signal of this camera was connected to the internet and was linked to a special live broadcast room of Whale TV. Only people with a specific account could log into this live broadcast room. The number of viewers was not very large, maintained at around 10,000, and it was very special that there was no gift function, nor could they use any props. This was the only online live broadcast point of Lu Qin's first concert in the Olympic sports. It was specially provided for those die-hard Lu Jiajun fans who did not buy tickets, so that they could cheer for Lu Qin at the first moment. Some of these fans could even be traced back to Lu Chen's live broadcast on the Starlight Show. They could be called Lu Chen's most loyal and oldest diehard fans. And Lu Chen's songs You Who Sat Next to Me and Passing Years brought them both good memories and sad nostalgia. The live stream was quiet. There were no bullet screens flying all over the place and there were no extravagant gifts. Instead of saying that everyone was listening quietly, it was more accurate to say that they were feeling the pure and clear emotions that the song brought to them. Everything seemed like yesterday and they only wished that time would stop at this moment forever. Chapter 906. There were no gorgeous lights, no beautiful dancers and even no soundtrack accompaniment. There was only Lu Chen alone, holding the guitar on the stage and singing one folk song after another. You Who Sat Next to Me, The Passing Years, Love in the Wind, Those Flowers. With the guitar in his hand, he led the audience of 83,000 fans to review a period of folk songs, the history of campus folk songs, which made people reminisce and nostalgic. The familiar melody, the familiar voice, and the feelings that have never changed made many people cry. Many fans sang with Lu Chen from You Who Sat Next to Me. Often Lu Chen sang the beginning, and then the whole audience sang the chorus. Such a scene was really rare at a solo concert of a star. The folk songs that carried Lu Chen's glorious years ended with The Bright Times of Youth. He finally put down the guitar. The surrounding lights were dim and only a spotlight fell on Lu Chen. In the darkness behind him, the staff at the scene were rearranging the stage as quickly as possible. Thank you for singing so many songs with me, Lu Chen said into the microphone. It makes me feel a little embarrassed to ask everyone to pay for tickets. There was a burst of laughter in the audience. Everyone felt very cordial. Lu Chen's words now seemed to be talking to everyone, and the distance between them was rapidly shortened. Lu Chen continued, well, in order to express my gratitude to everyone, all friends here tonight, you will get a mysterious gift. Wow. There was an uproar in the audience. No one thought that there would be a gift for watching the concert tonight. Someone asked loudly, what's the gift? I heard. Lu Chen smiled and pointed in the direction of the voice. This friend asked what the gift is, then of course I won't tell you, otherwise what's the mystery? Laughter and applause sounded again. Lu Chen made an apologetic gesture. I'm sorry that I can't tell you now, but I promise that this gift is very special and won't disappoint you. But please remember to register your address on the ticketing website with your own account. Otherwise we won't be able to deliver it. Then next, he looked back and said, Nirvana please? 5 bright beams of light instantly fell from the dome and fell on the 5 band members behind Lu Chen. Please allow me to introduce you to our lead guitarist, Wang Jing. Wang Jing held her guitar and bowed to the audience. She quickly strummed the strings and played a short and exciting solo. The girl had short hair and wore a checkered shirt. She was clean and neat from head to toe. Coupled with Big's good looks and superb skills, she immediately won a round of enthusiastic cheers from the audience. Guitarist Wang Hui, bassist Ouyang He, keyboardist Wen Yuan, and our drummer Yang Xiaoyi. Every time Lu Chen called a name, that person would play a solo, constantly provoking the audience's mood. The predecessor of the Nirvana band was Nirvana Music Studio. At that time the band was not professional. It was more like playing around. No one knew it when they went out to perform. But since Lu Chen acquired Nirvana, the renamed Nirvana band was like a phoenix rising from the ashes, shining with unprecedented brilliance, quickly standing out in the circle with the name of Lu Chen's royal band. In the past 4 years the members of the Nirvana band have not changed, but the lives of each member have been completely different because of Lu Chen, which can be said to be earth-shaking changes. Wang Jing has a particularly deep feeling about this. Her eyes couldn't help but freeze on Lu Chen in front of her, and her eyes were filled with the light of memories. When she first met Lu Chen, Wang Jing's family's music studio was facing the worst situation. There was no business, lack of funds, and the possibility of closing down at any time. Fortunately, Lu Chen gave them a production contract and completed Lu Chen's solo debut album, You Who Sat Next to Me, which completely changed the fate of Nirvana Studios. Although the production level of this album has been criticized by many professionals, thinking that it is completely unworthy of the status of the work in the music industry, but for everyone in Nirvana Studio, it is undoubtedly a glory worth remembering for a lifetime. Then Nirvana Studios merged into Lu Chen Studio, and the Nirvana band became the Nirvana band. Recalling the past, it's like a dream. As the lead singer and guitarist of the Nirvana band, Wang Jing did not forget the help Lu Chen gave her, nor did she forget her secret feelings for Lu Chen. It's just that the current Wang Jing has long buried this feeling deep in the bottom of her heart. To be able to quietly look at Lu Chen and stand behind him, that's enough. Next, I will work with the Nirvana band. The first song is Cultivating Love. A smile appeared on Wang Jing's lips. This is the first new song tonight and the title song of the special album to be released in April this year by Lu Chen and the Nirvana band. A song that she likes very, very much. Why should I be disappointed? Hide your tears to the heart. The past will not lie, don't be embarrassed by it. We don't need to be like this, I think. Cultivating the sadness of love, learning to let go of the previous desires, our beliefs, how hard it is to forget. This song was not originally on the list of tracks for tonight's concert. When Lu Chen asked Wang Jing to help him sort out the music score, she accidentally found it on Lu Chen's hard disk. This song has unique lyrics, and perhaps it also contains a moving story. What makes Wang Jing's heart palpitate is the kind of subtle, sad and touching feeling contained in the song. At that time Wang Jing liked it and tried to suggest it to Lu Chen. Unexpectedly, Lu Chen not only agreed, but also played the song to the Nirvana band. So there is this moment. Cultivating the joys and sorrows of love, our efforts are not simple. Happiness turns into tears, it's a kind of courage. The fantasy of a few years ago, the forgiveness of a few years later, for a face to heal a body of wounds, don't say you miss me, I can't stand it. She doesn't know why, but Wang Jing wants to cry. Maybe after crying, her heart will be completely calm. Some memories can't be forgotten, some feelings won't come back after they are lost. Every love is a practice to make the next love better. Maybe it's really like this. But now, she seriously accompanies Lu Chen and sings for him. Note, Cultivating Love lyrics, E. Jiayang/composer, Lin Junjia. Chapter 907. Before the next song starts, after singing Cultivating Love, Lu Chen's forehead was covered with crystal sweat, but he was in a good mood and didn't have any idea of resting. He smiled at the tens of thousands of audience and said, I'd like to ask everyone to do me a favor. Oh, what's the favor? Everyone was very curious and many people shouted it out directly. Fortunately, Lu Chen didn't keep them in suspense. He immediately went on to say, this favor is actually very simple. First put down the light sticks and support cards in your hands. The fans immediately did so as if they had practiced it once. Thank you. Lu Chen said with a smile, now pick up your mobile phone, please turn on the flash and wave it along with the song. The next moment, the prelude of the music sounded, and everyone instantly understood, the brightest star in the night sky. This song is also one of Lu Chen's classic representative works. It is a milestone from his folk style to light rock and roll, and is deeply loved by countless fans. In the auditorium, thousands of fans raised their mobile phones high, letting the bright lights dance along with the melody of the song, as if they were bright stars in the night sky, interweaving into a gorgeous Milky Way. This scene was clearly recorded by the high-altitude camera, which became one of the most wonderful pictures of tonight's concert, and was imitated by many later singers. The brightest star in the night sky, can you hear the loneliness and sigh in the bottom of the heart of the person who looks up? The brightest star in the night sky, can you remember the figure that once walked with me and disappeared in the wind? I pray to have a transparent heart and eyes that will cry. The brightest star in the night sky, first appeared on the stage of Singing China. Lu Chen won the national championship of Singing China with this work, and set foot on the road to superstar. Later he reinterpreted this song at many music festivals and attracted many fans. The significance of this song for Lu Chen is actually no less than You Who Sat Next to Me. Looking back on the past 4 years and singing this song again, Lu Chen's heart was filled with a myriad of emotions. When he was curled up on the narrow single bed in the basement, did he ever think that he would become the brightest star in the night sky and be the focus of millions of people? Fate was such a wonderful thing. He knew very well the source of his success, so even though he had unparalleled popularity and endless wealth, he had never lost himself. Only by not forgetting one's original intention could one walk further and more steadily on the road of life. Always believe in the existence of light. Whenever I can't find the meaning of my existence, whenever I'm lost in the darkness, oh, the brightest star in the night sky, please illuminate my path. The camera swept across the audience and suddenly stopped on a member of the audience. The young fan hugged his girlfriend tightly in his arms and sang along with tears streaming down his face. He cried and sang heartbreakingly. The flashes of the phones around him reflected the tears on his face. The picture appeared on 3 big screens at the same time, and the audience immediately burst into applause and shouts. No one laughed at his fragility and laughed at him for crying like a child because people with stories are easily moved by this song. Tears are not shameful. What is shameful is the numbness of the heart. In the night sky tonight, Lu Qin is the brightest star, and the 83,000 spectators in the Olympic Stadium are also releasing their own light. The atmosphere of the scene reached a climax in this song, the brightest star in the night sky. When Lu Qin finished singing this song, he faced the audience and closed his eyes, listening to the cheers of everyone. He raised his right hand and pressed it on his chest, feeling his heart, as if it was beating strongly with the 83,000 hearts on the scene. After a long time, Lu Qin opened his eyes, put down his hand and said with a smile, "Wait a moment, I'll be back soon." Nirvana band immediately took over the stage, so that the atmosphere of the scene would not cool down. Backstage, Lu Qin was already sweating. He poured his feelings into every song and sang it with all his heart, without any perfunctory or compromise. Naturally, he consumed a lot of physical strength. However, his long-term practice of martial arts made him fully able to withstand such pressure. "It's wonderful." Chen Feier, who was in the backstage, gave Lu Qin a warm hug and said with a smile, "The atmosphere of the scene is so good." Lu Qin kissed his girlfriend on the face and quickly changed into his performance clothes. The Nirvana band had just performed a passionate performance outside, and the brand new Lu Qin appeared again. The applause exploded in an instant, and the audience couldn't wait any longer. Especially Lu Chen's fans, who were reluctant to let Lu Qin leave for even a second. In just a few minutes, their emotions have been brewed to the peak. Cough cough. Lu Qin coughed twice and asked, "Is everyone ready?" This question is a bit brainless. What are they ready for? But the fans didn't care so much and immediately replied loudly, "Ready." Lu Qin said with a smile, "Since everyone is ready, let's welcome several big brothers together. They are all good teachers and helpful friends in my life, so the next song will be sung by me and these big brothers. First of all, let's welcome Big Brother Tan Hong." A beam of light shone on the entrance and exit of the backstage. Tan Hong, wearing a suit of casual clothes, waved to the audience with a smile on his face and walked calmly towards Lu Qin. While there was another roar in the stadium of the Olympic Sports Stadium, which was the sound of countless applause and shouts. Tonight, at Lu Chen's first solo concert, Tan Hong's appearance as a guest performance was not too surprising, because in Lu Chen's singing career, Tan Hong's help to him is well known. The friendship between the two was also commendable. Although Tan Hong had already retired from the music industry, he would come to support Lu Chen's solo concert anyway. The two hugged each other and Tan Hong patted Lu Qin hard on the shoulder. Everything was said without words. Lu Qin continued, "Next let's welcome Big Brother Lu Gangxing." The applause and noise that had gradually subsided suddenly rose again, almost overturning the dome of the stadium. Lu Gangxing was the #1 superstar in Hong Kong, as well as a superstar in film, television and singing. He was an evergreen tree in the entertainment industry. In terms of domestic popularity, he surpassed Tan Hong. Lu Qin invited two big stars at once, and people couldn't help but look forward to the songs they collaborated on. But it was not over yet. After hugging Lu Gangxing, Lu Qin said, "The last Big Brother Liao Jia." 3 big brothers plus Lu Qin, a total of 4 big stars. If they performed a song together, no matter what song it was, it would definitely be recorded in the history of Chinese music. Chapter 908. Lu Qin, Tan Hong, Lu Gangxing and Liao Jia, 4 big figures in the singing world, stood on the stage together, leaving only shock to the 83,000 audience at the scene. The stars had never been so bright. The age gap between Lu Qin and his 3 brothers was at least 20 years. The 3 of them were his real seniors, and Tan Hong, Lu Gangxing, and Liao Jia all had unique achievements in different fields of the music industry. However, when Lu Qin stood with them, he was not inferior at all. He was more like a successor. Before they started singing, the atmosphere of the audience had reached its peak. It was simply crazy. Lu Qin, Tan Hong, Lu Gangxing, Liao Jia. Thousands of audience shouted the names of the 4 people, and many fans were so excited that they cried. How lucky they were. Lu Gangxing said with a smile, "Thank you everyone. You are so enthusiastic. It makes me feel that I'm not old yet." Tan Hong laughed. "You will always be 18 years old." This was a joke. Lu Gangxing participated in a singing competition on Hong Kong satellite TV when he was 18 years old, thus announcing his debut in the music industry. Decades later, A reporter asked him if he had ever thought about retiring from the music industry. He replied humorously, "As long as there are fans who are willing to listen to my songs, I will always be 18 years old." Lu Gangxing expressed his love for music in this way. Even if the years passed and he was old, this infatuation had never changed, just like when he was 18 years old. Those who were familiar with Lu Gangxing all knew this joke and immediately laughed. Lu Gangxing said, "Why don't you learn from me? You will be so disappointed if you quit so early." The two had known each other for many years. Although one was in Hong Kong and the other was in the mainland, they had a deep friendship. Tan Hong shook his head and replied, "I'm really old and can't sing anymore. I'm not as energetic as you." Hey. Liao Jia, who was next to them, was dissatisfied. "Are you two here to support us or to chat? Do you still want to sing?" Lu Gangxing and Tan Hong looked at each other and smiled. The former said they would sing and the latter nodded. As expected of the two big brother-level figures, they were able to easily control the atmosphere of the scene with just a few words. This kind of ability to control the situation was really not just for show. However, Lu Chen would never feel like he was being overshadowed by the noisy guests. He was happy to see his brothers perform freely. Liao Jia was satisfied. "That's right. It's rare for everyone to gather, so let's have a good time." He strode to Nirvana and took the bass from Ouyanghe. Lu Gangxing took over the position of drummer, Tan Hong was the keyboard player, and Lu Chen was the guitar player. A temporary Heavenly King band was formed. Lu Chen looked at his brothers. When they were all ready, he said to the microphone, "A new song will be sung by me and my three brothers. True Hero. I hope everyone likes it." The appearance of True Hero was really unexpected. Tonight was Lu Chen's first concert. At the beginning of the preparation, Lu Chen was thinking about which friend in the circle to invite as a guest. He actually had a lot of choices. However, what he didn't expect was that before he opened his mouth to invite, Lu Gangxing and Liao Jia took the initiative to contact him. Even Tan Hong, who had long retired, called. According to them, how could little brother Lu Chen not come to support such an important performance? Lu Chen couldn't refuse these three people in any case, especially when they were so enthusiastic. So he had a brainwave and simply pulled out the song True Hero from his memory. The four of them sang together. After Tan Hong, Lu Gangxing and Liao Jia read the music score, they agreed to Lu Chen's proposal without any objection. So, there was a shocking and exciting scene in tonight's concert. Lu Chen, in my heart there was a dream. I wanted to sing to make you forget all the pain. Lu Gangxing, under the bright starry sky, who is the real hero? Ordinary people move me the most. Tan Hong, no more hate, no more pain. I hope that there are traces of love everywhere in the world. Liao Jia, use our song in exchange for your sincere smile. Chorus, I wish that your life will be different from now on. This song True Hero was a real inspirational work. Not only was the melody moving, but the lyrics were also full of incomparable positive energy. It made people feel emotional. Lu Chen's voice was clean and energetic. Lu Gangxing's voice was heroic and powerful. Tan Hong's voice was full of emotion and his singing skills were top-notch. Liao Jia's voice was full of vicissitudes with optimism. When the four people's voices alternated, it added a special charm to the work. Although it was a completely new song, it deeply moved all the audience and fans present. At this time, no one applauded or shouted. Everyone held their breath and listened attentively, for fear of missing any note or missing even a second of precious memory. Especially the star artists sitting in the front row of the VIP seats, they were all extremely focused and serious. It was as if they were on a pilgrimage. Lu Chen, seize every minute of life. Liao Jia, do our best to realize the dream in our hearts. Tan Hong, how can we see the rainbow without experiencing the wind and rain? Lu Gangxing, no one can succeed easily. The four top stars of the singing industry were playing and singing together. They were very relaxed and had a tacit understanding with each other. They exchanged glances and smiled at each other, vividly performing the rich connotation of this song, True Hero. Let the sincere words and happy tears flow in our hearts. When the four of them sang the last line together, Liao Jia suddenly performed a passionate solo, which immediately triggered a tsunami of cheers from the audience. The celebrity guests sitting in the front first stood up and applauded, followed by everyone in the audience. The applause was like a surging tide, repeatedly crashing and roaring in the main stadium of the Olympic Sports Stadium. Such an atmosphere was really hard to describe with words. Only those who were in it could feel it the most. They were really excited to the point that their scalps went numb, their faces flushed and their bodies trembled. Even the most shy people couldn't help but go crazy. This was the charm of the top stars and the charm of classic pop music. Awesome. Liao Jia roared after the solo performance ended, waving his long hair like a roaring lion. Even a rational and calm person like Tan Hong couldn't help but be moved. He said, "I really can't bear to leave." Lu Gangxing smiled and said, "If you can't bear to, we can sing again next time. We might as well form a band." Lu Chen laughed. I raised both hands in approval. Inadvertently, the 83,000 audience at the venue witnessed a period of history in the Chinese pop music industry. The Bloodstained Line, later known as Asia's most heavenly band, went from a joke to a reality. Although this band only lasted for 2 years, it left the most classic memory for countless fans. Note, lyricist/composer of True Hero, Li Zongxing. This chapter is dedicated to the memory of the Bloodstained Line band. Chapter 909. Tonight, the 83,000 audience in the main stadium of the Beijing Olympic Sports Center experienced a journey of surprise, emotion, excitement, and reluctance. They were pleasantly surprised that Lu Qin, Tan Hong, Lu Gangxing, and Liao Jia joined hands to sing together, allowing everyone to witness the birth of a heavenly band, Longitudinal Line. They were moved by the inspirational and hot-blooded new song True Hero, but they were reluctant to see the three big brothers leave the stage. It was likely that this would be the only time and the same scene would not be repeated. Although all the audience and fans shouted in unison, hoping that they could return for a comeback, it was a pity. And Lu Chen's solo debut concert continued. For the audience, time passed too quickly. Lu Chen took them to review his musical journey from folk to light rock to love songs and finally to China style. In more than 3 hours he sang a total of 29 works. Usually a performance lasted about 3 to 4 hours and there were about 30 songs. Most of these works came from Lu Chen's 3 albums, You Who Sat Next to Me, The Ordinary Road, and Lu Chen. There were a total of 2 new songs, all composed by Lu Chen, covering all of his classic works, allowing the fans to enjoy a feast of music. However, the concert also came to an end. Lu Chen changed his clothes 3 times and his voice was a bit hoarse. His singing and seriousness to his work consumed too much energy and emotion, but he still persisted with high spirit. The next song, holding the microphone, Lu Chen said in a deep voice, "It's a bit special because it's not for you but for the person I love the most." Before he finished, a fan immediately shouted, "Chen Fei." Who else could Lu Chen's favorite be besides Chen Fei? Is he going to confess in public? Today is Valentine's Day. At the beginning, Lu Chen chose to set his debut concert on this special day. Fans, including many media, were speculating that Lu Chen would probably propose to Chen Fei on the spot. The two had been in love for 4 years and had always been regarded as the best couple in the entertainment industry. This relationship that everyone envied was about to blossom and bear fruit. With the popularity and status of Lu Chen and Chen Fei in the circle, marriage would not affect their careers. Wrong guess. Lu Chen laughed and denied it. He smiled and said, "The person I love the most is my mother. She is sitting in the middle of you now. I want to use this song to express my love and gratitude to her." The cameras on the scene pointed to the middle of the first row of the VIP seats in time, and focused on Fang Yun who was sitting there. Her eyes were full of tears, and there was a gratified smile on her face. 4 years ago, Fang Yun never thought that there would be such a day. She would sit in a venue with tens of thousands of people to watch her son's concert and share the glory of Lu Chen with everyone. Her heart was full of pride. On the left side of Fang Yun sat Chen Fei. The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law held hands and looked very intimate. On the right side were Lu Shi and Lu Shui. The whole family appeared in the camera. Mother Lu. The audience burst into warm applause in an instant, cheering for Fang Yun. Mother Lu was the nickname of Lu Chen's mother by fans. Everyone expressed their deep gratitude to Mother Lu. Because without Mother Lu there would be no Lu Chen, and there would be no surprise in touching everyone today by Lu Chen. When you are old and your hair is white and you are drowsy. When you are old and you can't walk and you take a nap by the fire and remember your youth, how many loved you in your youth, how many admired your beauty whether they were sincere or fake, but only one person still loves your pious soul. The song that Lu Chen sang for Fang Yun was the song that everyone was familiar with, When You Are Old. It was not the first time that he sang for his mother, but the meaning of this song was different. Sitting in front of the piano, Lu Chen played and sang. His voice was deep and calm, but it contained deep gratitude and love, and it also touched the heartstrings of everyone. Many fans spontaneously hummed along. Only one person still loves your pious soul and loves the wrinkles on your old face. When you are old and your eyes droop and the light is dim and flickering. The wind blows and your news, this is the song in my heart. There was no sad nostalgia, no wanton madness, no burning excitement, there was only warmth and touching, and the atmosphere of the scene was brought into another world. When I am old, I really hope that this song is for you. When Lu Qin finished singing the last sentence, he stood up and bowed deeply to Fang Yun. Thank you, Mom. The applause of the audience was thunderous. This was the most warm and touching scene of the whole concert tonight. But what about the song that everyone had been looking forward to? Obviously, Lu Qin would not let his fans down. He adjusted his mood a little and then said, "This song, When You Are Old, is for my mother, the person I love the most, and the following song. It is for the most important person in my life. Qin Fei." This time the audience did not make a mistake. Thousands of fans shouted in unison, and it was very loud and clear. The camera lens was also synchronized to the shy Qin Fei. Lu Qin smiled and said, "Yes, the name of this song is I Only Care About You." His eyes crossed the distance between the stage and the audience, and met Qin Fei's eyes with tears. "You are the most important person in my life. If I didn't meet you, where would I be? How life is, whether life should be cherished. Maybe I know someone living an ordinary life, I don't know if there will be love as sweet as honey. Let time not rush, I only care about you, I am willing to be infected with your breath. How many people can find a confidant in life? It's not a pity to lose the strength of life." This was a love song of affectionate confession. It had a beautiful melody and profound and meaningful lyrics. It was a sincere heart and monologue, a sentimental and firm belief in love. The style of I Only Care About You was very retro, inclined to love songs of the 80s and 90s. The arrangement and accompaniment were very simple, which could be said to be quite unlike Lu Qin. But it was precisely this simplicity that could directly hit people's hearts and awaken the yearning and touching of the audience for love. It was undoubtedly one of the most suitable songs to be sung on this special day. "So I beg you, don't let me leave you, except for you, I can't feel a trace of love." In the song, Qin Fei could no longer hold back his tears. Note, I Only Care About You lyricist, Shinji/composer, Takashi Miki. Chapter 9-10. Perhaps only the appearance of the song, I Only Care About You, could make the atmosphere of the concert in the evening fully match today's special day. The warmth, sweet love and deep attachment made everyone smile from the bottom of their hearts. When Lu Qin finished singing the song, he stepped down from the stage step by step and walked to the front row of the VIP seats. He walked to Qin Fei. All the cameras at the scene were aimed at Lu Qin, recording his image from different angles and constantly switching on the big screen, as if some sacred ceremony was being held. The 83,000 audience at the scene seemed to realize something. Everyone held their breath, no one shouted, and even put down their mobile phone glow sticks and stared with wide eyes. At this moment, no one noticed that on the big stage the Nirvana band quietly reappeared. Along with the Nirvana band there were three beautiful and lovely girls. When Lu Qin finally stood in front of Qin Fei, a piano prelude sounded, and then Mu Xiaochu's sweet singing like clear spring water flowed into everyone's ears with joy and joy. The Seine River, the coffee on the left bank, I hold a cup in my hand, tasting your beauty. The mouth that leaves a lip print, the rose in the flower shop, whose name was written wrongly. The confession balloon, the wind blows across the street. Flying in the sky with a smile. You said you were a bit difficult to pursue and wanted me to retreat in the face of difficulties. You don't have to choose the most expensive gift, just the fallen leaves of the fragrant pavilion. Oh, creating a romantic date, not afraid to mess up everything, having you means having the world. With the singing of Mu Xiaochu and the addition of the harmony of the other two members of MSN, the lights arranged on the dome of the Olympic Sports Center lit up, and a series of intertwined lights fell on the big stage and the audience. Countless colorful heart-shaped balloons fell from the sky. The fans couldn't help but cry out in surprise, especially those girls who liked romance. They were so excited that their eyes were shining. They stood up in unison and used their hands to catch the balloons falling from the air. On the three big screens, images of roses appeared at the same time. Lu Qin extended his hand to Qin Fei and asked with a smile, "This is another gift I gave you tonight. Do you like it?" Qin Fei's pretty face showed a hint of shyness. She coquettishly rolled her eyes at Lu Qin, then stretched out her hand. This gift was really unique. It could be considered a surprise. Lu Qin led Qin Fei back to the stage. The three girls of MSN retreated into the shadows at the same time, giving the stage to the two people. Their singing became very light and became the background sound. But it was still sweet and moving. Lu Chen pulled Chen Feier to stand under the spotlight, and they became the focus of the audience again. Facing Chen Feier, he knelt down on one knee and took out a jewelry box from his pocket. The whole place was so silent that even a pin drop could be heard. Many fans even clenched their fists and covered their mouths, for fear that they would shout out in excitement. Lu Chen opened the box and revealed the custom-made diamond ring inside. He raised his head and looked up at Chen Feier tenderly and asked, "Will you marry me? Will you marry me?" Perhaps she had been mentally prepared, or perhaps she had foreseen this moment, but when these words came out of Lu Chen's mouth, Chen Feier still couldn't control her feelings and shed crystal tears. She looked at Lu Chen, who was kneeling in front of her, with tears in her eyes, and countless past events came to her heart. Those heartwarming, sweet, sorrowful feelings. For a moment Chen Feier was stunned. Then the song urged her, "Darling, don't be capricious, your eyes are saying that I do. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes." The fans in the audience went crazy directly. Almost everyone stood up and raised their arms and shouted, "Say yes. Will you marry me?" Chen Feier suddenly came to her senses. She nodded with a smile and said with tears in her eyes, "I do. Will you marry me?" "I do." Applause and cheers exploded again. It was unprecedentedly intense and turbulent. Many fans were so excited that their faces were red. Only by shouting to their heart's content could they vent their excitement at this moment. The second wave of balloons floated down from the sky and all of them were pink. At the center of the stage, Lu Chen put the diamond ring on Chen Feier's ring finger and made a lifelong promise. He stood up, held Chen Feier in his arms and lowered his head to kiss her. When he touched Chen Feier's soft and fragrant lips, the past memories unfolded in Lu Chen's mind like a scroll of a painting. Those scenes filled his heart with the taste of happiness. There was also deep gratitude. Lu Chen was grateful to fate for giving him the memory of a world and the person he loved all his life. He hugged Chen Feier, who had become his wife, tightly. This moment was destined to be eternal. Countless flashes lit up, which were taken by the 83,000 people in the audience with their mobile phones. In the shadow of the stage, only 10 meters away from Lu Chen and Chen Feier, Mu Xiaochu looked at the two of them with a smile, but her tears couldn't stop flowing. Although she desperately told herself that this was the result she had always wanted to see, when the result really appeared in front of her, she still cried, laughing and crying alone in the darkness. Maybe one day in the future, when she recalled this moment, she would feel very embarrassed and feel that she was very stupid. But at least for now, she didn't regret it. In the corner of the north stand of the auditorium, Yi Zitong was also smiling, but there were no tears in her eyes. In her heart, she was happy for the man she once liked, but did not have the fate to be with, to find his own happiness, and silently sent her blessings. There was no jealousy, no sadness, maybe a little regret, but time had long erased those unwillingness and regret, leaving only beautiful memories. Buying the tickets for tonight's concert was a coincidence, maybe it was also God's arrangement. In any case, she was here and saw it, and that was enough. The woman in a white dress quietly got up and left quietly, not disturbing anyone. In the VIP seats, Li Mushi whispered to Tian Tian, who was sitting next to her, "Do you want to cry? I can lend you my shoulder to lean on, and I can accompany you to the bar at night to drown your sorrows. How about it?" The two met because of Lu Chen, and their relationship was not very close, but Li Mushi was a little interested in Tian Tian, so tonight she deliberately sat with Tian Tian. And she knew that Tian Tian liked Lu Chen. When whispering to Tian Tian, it was as if there was an invisible tail wagging behind Li Mushi. Tian Tian smiled and shook her head, and her eyes flashed with bright light. No one knew what she was thinking in her heart at this moment. On Valentine's Day, February 14, 2019, Lu Chen proposed to Chen Feier at his solo concert in front of the 83,000 audience. The 4 years of love between the two had the most beautiful ending. Note: Confession Balloon Lyrics, Fang Wenshan / composer, Zhou Jieluan. Chapter 9:11. A trace of throbbing from the heart made Lu Chen wake up from his sleep. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was Chen Feier's pretty face bathed in the morning light. She was staring at Lu Chen with an indescribable gentleness in her eyes. Although she didn't put on any makeup, she was extremely charming. Seeing that Lu Chen had woken up, her face blushed faintly, and she was as shy as an innocent girl. Lu Chen couldn't help but lean over and kiss her on the cheek. He smiled and said, "Good morning, honey." Although the legal procedure hadn't been completed yet, from the moment he put the diamond ring on Chen Feier's finger last night, the two had already made a lifelong commitment. Therefore Lu Chen called her honey very naturally, and it felt very good. "Well?" Chen Fei pursed her lips and replied, "Good morning, honey." Lu Chen was overjoyed. This was the first time that Chen Fei had called him honey. It was a historic breakthrough. Even if the two were no different from a real husband and wife, such a mushy dialogue still made Chen Fei feel a little uncomfortable. She quickly lifted the quilt and got out of bed. She said, "I'm going to make breakfast." Lu Chen watched his beloved escape from the bedroom like a little rabbit and couldn't help but laugh. He laughed a little foolishly, but he looked very happy. He got up and washed up. When he went to the small dining room in the outer room, the table was already filled with hot milk, sandwiches and eggs. There were also buns and rice porridge and other sumptuous breakfast dishes. Since she was pregnant, Chen Fei had turned down all her work arrangements and focused on raising the baby at home. She had nothing to do, so she began to teach herself how to cook. She bought a lot of gourmet recipes and practiced them at home. Although her current cooking skills were still not good, there was no problem for her to make breakfast. "I'll eat first." Lu Chen sat straight down on the seat. Smelling the fragrance of the milk and rice porridge, he had a great appetite. He picked up the chopsticks and ate quickly. While eating, he turned on his phone and browsed the blog. The most romantic proposal on Valentine's Day. Lu Chen proposes to Chen Fei, 4 years of romance bear fruit. Last night we witnessed a romantic affair. Unsurprisingly, Lu Chen's first solo concert at the Olympic Sports Center and his proposal to Chen Fei became the hottest topic on the blog. And on the homepage of Waves, the top 5 most popular topics were all related to him. This grand solo concert, coupled with the extremely romantic proposal process, caused an unprecedented heated response on the internet. Countless fans came to his blog and sent their blessings. Lu Chen's lips curled into a smile as he read through these messages. "Don't play with your phone while eating." Chen Fei walked out with a plate of freshly fried eggs and pouted, "How many times have I told you?" Lu Chen immediately put down his phone and saluted his wife. "Yes, ma'am." After a warm breakfast, Lu Chen took Chen Fei with him and left the house. Because there was a very, very important thing that needed to be done today. That was to register. As Lu Chen's household registration was still in Binhai, he had to fly to Binhai with Chen Fei to get their marriage certificate. At the same time, he would also attend his second solo concert in Hangzhou on the evening of the 17th. However, before that, Lu Chen still needed to go back to the headquarters of Chen Fei Media because there were several guests from thousands of miles away visiting in the morning to discuss an important contract. On the way to the company, Chen Fei suddenly grabbed Lu Chen's arm, pointed outside the car and said, "That's our OFO shared bike." Lu Chen turned his head and looked in the direction of her finger. He saw more than a dozen unique and brightly colored bicycles lined up neatly on the sidewalk by the road. The OFO logo was particularly eye-catching. Since February 12, as the creator of the pilotless bike-sharing model, OFO shared bikes had been launched in Beijing, Shanghai, Hangzhou, Shanghai, Shaoqing and other first-tier cities in China. This opened the hot prelude to the sharing economy. Chen Fei said proudly, "Mushy and sister she have speculated that after our company goes public, its market value will be at least $5 billion US. At that time I will be richer than you." The idea of OFO shared bikes was Lu Chen's idea, but he did not invest in it. It was jointly founded by Li Mushi, Lu Shi and Chen Fei. Lu Chen said with a smile, "At that time I will depend on you." Chen Fei smiled and gently leaned her head on Lu Chen's shoulder. She said, "I really want to raise you at home so that other girls won't see you and you won't make other girls sad." Lu Chen suddenly felt guilty. Fortunately, they soon arrived at the company. The faraway guests who visited Chen Fei Media were 3 representatives from Hollywood Lion Pictures in the United States. They flew thousands of miles to Beijing to sign 2 contracts with Lu Chen. One was a licensing contract. Lion Pictures was preparing to film the UD-725 incident on the big screen this year. The film was tentatively named Flying Over the Pacific, and was expected to invest $150 million US. Since Lu Chen was the most important person in the incident of Flight UD-725, this film based on a real event needs to be authorized by him. As for the other contract, it was an actor's contract. Lion Pictures invited Lu Chen to play the male lead of Flying Over the Pacific, with $12 million US and a 5% share of the global box office. In China, many stars and actors wanted to break into the world's top circle of Hollywood, but most of them failed. Only a few of them were familiar with the industry, but few succeeded. No matter who it was, they had never received such high treatment like Lu Chen. Once these two contracts, especially the actor's contract, were revealed, one could imagine how big a sensation it would cause. But for Lu Chen, this contract represented huge benefits and reputation. It was far less important than the certificate he was going to apply for, at most a few yuan. Therefore, after meeting with the senior representatives of Lion Pictures, he left the specific reception and negotiation work to Lu Shi. He took Qin Feier on the journey back to Binhai. At the moment when the plane took off, Qin Feier suddenly held Lu Chen's hand and asked in a low voice, "Honey, will you love me forever?" Lu Chen nodded hard. "Yes, I will love you forever." After the end of the national concert tour, he and Qin Feier would hold a wedding on Love Island, and then wait for the birth of their first child. His life was perfect and flawless. The plane flew straight into the sky towards the infinite beautiful future. End of the book. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.